Hey everyone, it's me, Doomlink, and welcome back to Doomlink's Live Hunts. Now, actually, one thing that I've come to notice is that Twitch is not consistent when it comes to the moment it starts archiving, so I probably should, no matter what, at least leave a buffer of about 5 seconds before I start talking. Otherwise, you never know, the auto-archive, or not, well, I guess you would call it an auto-archive, but it just call it an archive. Otherwise, it might start in the middle of me talking, which I never like, but obviously, if it's edited, the ideal is that you have about a 1 second buffer and then start talking, but anyway. Hello Takashi, good to see you. I think I just refreshed my... yeah, I must have just refreshed my stream page. I will pop out that chat. And yeah, in terms of what today is going to involve, I really don't know. Probably just, as you would expect with this series, random hunts. And just using the Anima Reaper that I acquired in the previous recording, which was, again, really good. I'm just glad, it's one of those things that I'm just glad that I don't have to worry about not having anymore, because when you kind of want something but not really want it, and that goes on for many, many years. I was talking about like 6 years in the last recording, I don't know why, I keep forgetting it's 2021, you know, it's closer to, well, it's definitely 7 years, closer to 8. So, yeah, I keep forgetting it's 2021. Anyway, yeah, when that goes on for 7 years, it just sort of, it weighs on you a little bit, but the weight is finally gone. That's pretty much the last event weapon that I want. Past this point, event weapons are just going to be if I feel like I want them. Which, you know, when I say that, I mean when I feel like I want them just to have them, not use them. The Anima Reaper was the last event weapon that I needed to get that I felt like actually using, so yeah, of course the idea was that it would replace... hold on, I need to reconnect my controller here. The idea was that it would actually replace this weapon over here. It's called the Dreadnought. You guys have probably seen it before, but for those who haven't seen it, the Dreadnought is this here. As far as how it actually compares to the Anima Reaper, let's actually do a comparison right now. Awakened Greatsword. So Dreadnought versus Anima Reaper. We're looking at 1152, 540 element. Now already I can see one point of comparison, and that is that the Dreadnought has a little bit of purple sharpness. Which is awkward because the Anima Reaper does not have that. So Anima Reaper, wherever that is that's not... must be here. Where is the damn thing? Anima Reaper. Where are you? Am I blind? Couldn't be. Huh? Where is the damn thing? Anima Reaper. Oh, it might not be sorted. Yeah, now I've sorted, I think it's appeared. Okay, so what we'll do is we will equip this. That way we can get a direct comparison. Anima Reaper is better purely in regards to fire element. Now here's the catch. You've got a little bit of extra raw damage, and as well as that you have additional affinity and sharpness for Dreadnought versus Anima Reaper. The sharpness, the significance of the sharpness is not only in regards to the attack value, but also the elemental value. So while the elemental value on Dreadnought is less than that of the Anima Reaper, the purple sharpness on the Dreadnought versus Anima Reaper is actually going to increase the effectiveness of the 540 fire value to the point where it would probably equal that, well, maybe not equal that of the Anima Reaper, without the purple sharpness modifier on the Anima Reaper, but it will have it come quite close to that, whilst simultaneously boosting an attack value that is already higher than the Anima Reaper. So I think, strictly speaking, the Dreadnought is the better weapon, but in terms of weapon design, I prefer the Anima Reaper. And it's little things like that that I prefer at this point in the game. You know, I'm not looking to be absolutely min-maxed, you know, meta game. This is definitely not meta game. I wouldn't say even the Dreadnought's meta game, but anyway. But again, the discrepancy, as N10 points out, is kind of... it's very close, so it's not like you're getting a huge discrepancy in damage here. The point is that something like the visual appearance of the weapon is an appropriate thing to, I guess, serve as the deciding factor, the one thing that is going to make me use this over the Red Nought, and that's the way it is. I unfortunately don't like its retracted appearance, where you've got the end of the blade retracting inside the bulk of the design, thus making it a shorter, stumpier looking weapon, but yeah. Aside from that, looks better, and I'm just happy that I have it. It also has it has a value to it as well, because attached to the weapon itself, at least in the minds of any person who knows, is the challenge of completing Descent into Hades 5 times, which is not an easy task. It's not. You can say, oh, Descent into Hades isn't a big deal, but to complete that quest 5 times, it takes a bit of effort, you know. Unless you want to allocate a long time. If you've got a consistent team that can clear Descent into Hades repeatedly. I don't know why that just happened, by the way. I mean, that was just pure stupidity, what I just did there. But, let's actually go into the online. Hey, Autonomic. In terms of stream issues, I couldn't say. It's possible that the stream can be unstable at the start for viewers. I don't know what causes that. Twitch likes to tell me that the stream is unstable, but I don't trust it. But it might be true that for some reason or another it's unstable. It's probably on Twitch's side rather than on my side, because OBS gives me a very clear and transparent view of how well I'm streaming to my audience, so if Twitch decides that it's unstable, well, that's their fucking problem. This is a really bad start, guys, and I'll tell you why. Fortunately, I have N10 coming on from what I can see, which really helps, let me tell you, because I actually decided to record this before checking to see who was online. We're in an awkward position right now where I am the 9th player, which means there are 2 rooms of 4 people, and I'm the odd one out. So that's not going to be as big of a deal, because I will have N10 joining me from what I can tell, so that's a good thing. Yeah, peace of mind, we'll put it that way. I need to go and get my keyboard also. That's part of the setup process of these recordings that I seem to neglect consistently every single time I go live. I always forget to get my keyboard, and you're gonna have to forgive me for that. In fact, N10, could you make the room, please? Just name it HR8+, and we'll go with that. And the reason why is because you are a higher hunter rank than me, and that will cause people to prioritize your room over almost anyone else's room, unless, you know, it's hunter rank 999 that posts. So we'll do it that way. I like to take note of things like that because, again, people are quite simple. If they've got like 2 or 3 choices, they'll probably naturally go to the one with the highest hunter rank hosting. So. Ooh. Fortunately, that was knocking into my chair and not my boom stand. If that made contact with my boom stand leg as opposed to my chair leg, that would have been enough to maybe give you bleeding ears, although I think my compressor can catch most of that. Yes, Takashi is, well, he's paying attention. Of course, last time I was recording, I said I'd get some gin this time, and I certainly did. Got a fresh bottle of gin, just had the first pour. Just before I got on camera, you can see it's barely touched. But yeah, got myself a bottle of gin. It's been about a month, honestly, since I was last having gin, and it's good. I love it. The best thing to do, I've talked about this before, but the best way to appreciate anything, not just flavor, but also things that are very different from one another, you need to have a point of reference to truly appreciate something, in other words. And that can relate to flavor or many other things in life. If you're used to just, for example, drinking the same spirit the whole time, it could actually taste awful and you'd never notice, because you just get so used to the flavor, it doesn't mean anything to you. And then you can go to something very, very different, like let's take gin versus whiskey, very, very different flavors, but you'll find that you have a clearer idea of what a whiskey tastes like comparative to all other whiskey when you have gin, because that stark point of reference will give you a clearer image, I guess, of what the whiskey tastes like. So for example, if I had one particular whiskey, if I really wanted to make a clear determination of what it tasted like, I would drink the gin first, not like back to back, but, you know, over a period of time. I would, you know, say, let's imagine I get one bottle of whiskey, I finish that bottle, and then I go to the gin, and then once I'm finished with the gin, I'll go to that same bottle of whiskey, just a new bottle, and then when I taste it, it will taste totally different. It won't necessarily change the flavor, as in it's going to be really bad or really good, depending on, you know, some sort of taste in your mouth. The actual intricacies of the flavor notes will jump out at you because it is so different to what you last tasted. Now, everything I just said might have gone over your head and you don't care. Like, that's possible. But the point is, a point of reference will always give you a clearer view of what you're consuming, whether it's flavor, whether it's a video game, whether it's anything at all. And that's why experience is so valuable in life. It's because without experience, there is no point of reference, and without a point of reference, you don't know what's good or what's bad, unfortunately. So that's life. And that's why experience is so greatly valued in the human experience, because without it, there's not much that you know. You don't know much in general. Oh, that's a good point. I forgot that I have limited space in my box. That's an awkward thing. I'm actually going to have to sell maybe 2 stacks of that. Yeah. This is not a game where I can just have stacks and stacks of potions for my convenience, because you can see that I don't have much in the way of space in that box of mine. Do you know what you'd like to post? Yes, it looks like it. 3 burial. Yeah, sure. Why not? Just to use my Anima Reaper. Good call. That's really the main reason why I wanted to jump on 3 Ultimate today. You know, versus, for example, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. It was the Anima Reaper. I was just thinking about it. You know, I took 2 days to just take a break from Monster Hunter and from streaming. And in that time, I was thinking, God, I'm really happy I've got the Anima Reaper. And I just really wanted to give it another whirl. And here I am. And I think tomorrow I'll probably be doing Castlevania Lament of Innocence. It's been a little while. Probably 2 or 3 weeks since I recorded the second part of that. So that'll be good. And then I'll probably do a bit of Zelda as well. Not necessarily Breath of the Wild. I'm still trying to give Breath of the Wild a bit of a break. Talking more my Minish Cap Let's Play, for example. And yeah, that'll be good. We might wait another minute, N10, and then we'll just 2-man it. I don't have too much confidence that we'll get a 3rd person anytime soon, but you never know. If a person comes online, this is the room they're going to go straight into, not just because you're a high hunter rank, but because it's literally their only choice. Admittedly, it makes it harder when I say HR8+, because that might actually... Well, it's a bit isolating for the people who might be at hunter rank 6 or 7 and still want to hunt in G rank, but they can't. I just put HR8+ because there are a lot of quests that HR6s and 7s can't do, so I would rather have access to the full spectrum of G rank when I'm here in a G rank room. It's not necessarily going to be my new Fire Greatsword autonomic, it's just going to be my Fire Awakened Greatsword. And I always, where I can, have a choice of both a regular element and an awakened element. So my Fire Greatswords, I actually have 3 choices of Fire Greatsword, I think, unless I didn't make the Silver Rathalos Greatsword in this game. We'll just say, for argument's sake, I have 2 choices. I either have the Depotheosis, which is the Morales Fire Greatsword, and I have the Anima Reaper. Technically, I have the Red Knot, and I might possibly have the Silver Rathalos Greatsword, although I don't think I do. But the point is that I've got 2 main choices at the moment that I would actually be choosing between, realistically, and one is awakened and one isn't. And that's the ideal situation. I like to have choices, and it just makes the end game more fun. Doesn't look like we're going to get a 3rd person anytime soon. So really, N10 saved my ass. Otherwise, what was I going to do? just do solo hunts, I guess, at the start of the recording. That's basically what I would have been forced to do. But, fortunately, he's got my back. And he was planning on coming online anyway, so it works well. So again, you can see it's a bit short and stumpy here, but when you unsheath it, it becomes a bit longer. Unfortunately, you can't directly compare it to the size of the hunter, because it doesn't sit on the back extended out like this. So, fuck off. But you can still sort of see that it's more appropriately lengthed versus what it used to be, or appropriately sized. Don't like saying lengthed. Lengthed is an awful word and may not even be a word. But, yeah, it's more appropriately sized when unsheathed, and it's also got that skull there. I mean, I don't necessarily need the skull design, but it's something anyway. It does look more like a dragon weapon than a fire weapon, you're definitely right about that. It has that sort of coloration to it. For example, it's similar to Stygian weapons in a way. But, as I said before, it is a redesign of the Pirate J Greatsword, which I believe first appeared in Portable Third. I don't think it appeared in the Japanese Tri. The Pirate J weapons in general, and I think the armor as well, first appeared in the Japanese Monster Hunter Tri. It was exclusive to the Japanese Tri, didn't appear in the English Tri, or the Western Tri, I should say. But of course it did appear in Portable Third because that was in Japan only. And Pirate J didn't actually appear in a Western game of Monster Hunter until Monster Hunter Generations, or Generations Ultimate. I don't know, I think it was Generations, because I'm thinking back to high rank Pirate J stuff, which means it was probably Generations where it first appeared in a game outside of Japan. So, yeah, the Pirate J Greatsword from Portable Third at least had this design, and of course that came before this weapon, so. Sadly, it is just a recolor, essentially. I wouldn't even say redesign. I think I said redesign, didn't I? It is actually just a recolor. So, it's a nice recolor. It looks like its own weapon. You can have shit recolors and really good ones. It's really on the opposite end of a spectrum, because the Pirate J Greatsword is very colourful and almost cartoonish looking by comparison, whereas this is very... it's got very sleek colours. It's silver and black, and there's a bit of pinkish red there just to really serve as nice juxtaposition. And of course, again, there's your point of reference. As I was saying before, you can appreciate the silver and black more because you have a stark contrast there, which gives you, it allows you to appreciate both colours more because of the stark contrast. So, there you go. In other words, good recolor. I've got a trap down for the coming burial. I may actually use the Red Nought in the future, who knows. There may come a time when I just want something different to the Anima Reaper. But, really, I don't think that time will come anytime soon, because I'm going to enjoy this weapon as much as I can. And for a little while it probably will be my Fire Greatsword of choice, yeah. Not permanently, and not really for that long at all, I don't think. I will be going back to the Apotheosis because that's a great weapon design too. One of the great things about playing 3 Ultimate is that I can use the Morales weapon designs. In no other game can you use Morales weapon designs. Not even for Ultimate, I don't think. I don't think Morales weapon designs make an appearance in 4 Ultimate by way of relic weapons. A lot of weapon designs that you can't get normally are present for relic weapons because they use monsters like Cedeus, for example. But no Morales stuff. It's funny, you've got materials from monsters like Yamatsukami, Amatsuma Gatsuchi, Morales, Abyssal Laggy. Oh, Abyssal Laggy weapons return in 4 Ultimate, that's right. But yeah, you've got a lot of materials that don't actually reappear as weapons for relics. So, it's worth mentioning. For some reason they decided Abyssal Laggy had to appear as weapon designs, whereas Morales would not. Obviously the reason why abyssal laggy weapons returned as weapon designs for relics was because they were such good weapon designs. You know, that would be the benchmark. That's what's going to decide. Matt is saying, I'm only Hunter rank 6, but would like to hunt. Yeah, it's okay. There aren't many people playing. I mean, it's what I was saying before. The guy says he's Hunter rank 6, but he'd like to join, and look, that's okay. Because at the end of the day, this is probably the only room that he can join right now. And, you know, it's not like he's asking to do high rank, so if he's here to do G rank, then that's okay. I'm alright with that. So, Gabriella has joined as well. No idea what her Hunter rank is. I mean, no one at low or high rank is going to stay in this room. But if the person's G rank, yeah, sure. Because again, they just don't have many options, and it would be nasty to force them to make their own room and possibly sit there forever with no one to join, so. This is the last player, you're Gabriella, in the Twitch chat. Or maybe you mean something else entirely, Megan. I don't know. If you're not specific, I can only guess at what you mean, and based on the timing of what you said, I thought you were saying you were the last player to join my room in-game. Are you saying I'm the last player who plays Old Monster Hunter games? That's not true, but definitely we are in a minority by now, without a doubt. Because admittedly, even if people have an opinion that Old Monster Hunter is better, as content creators, they will follow the audience. The audience isn't here anymore. But I don't follow the audience, I follow what I want to play, and people can choose whether or not they want to watch, and it really doesn't matter to me. So, that's the way I do things. Well, of course Japanese players still play, and there's a reason why. It's because they know what makes a good Monster Hunter game, so they will always see value in this. And as well as that, the Japanese are always... they're not quite so quick to just jump on what's new like Westerners are. Westerners absolutely love the newest thing, and love to leave old stuff in the dust in the past, because they think it's not important anymore. But the Japanese know, culturally speaking, that if something was good in the past, it always will be good. And if it was good in the past, it was good for a reason, and that it's probably worth still celebrating. So that's the way Japanese culture is, and you can see that in a lot of things. You could also interpret that as them being, I don't know, less progressive. Maybe as a culture they are less progressive, but I don't think that's true, because you couldn't say they were less progressive in all regards. Maybe in certain regards, yeah, but in some they are quite progressive, so. There is probably quite an extensive discussion to be had on that point, but I'll leave it at that. How long till you're finished? 2 minutes. It's not going to take too much longer to kill this guy. Unfortunately, I was stuck down the bottom for a little while there, so that would have affected the time that it would take to kill the last one here, but it is only the last of 3 burials, which of course is not going to take a long time at all. The triple quests are so strange because they are very easy to do. The triple quests, like say 3 monsters that you kill sequentially, one at a time, it's honestly easier than fighting the single monster, and yet you get a lot of HRP from this quest and a lot more rewards. It's so warped, really. I guess you could technically say that you deserve more HRP if you kill more than one single monster, but you're only technically killing more than one single monster. They don't have full monster health. Their health will be divided into percentages based on the number in the quest, so maybe it doesn't work that way mathematically, but at the very least they do have reduced health. They will have a limited amount of health. It will be a certain fraction of the main health, so. Gabriella says, I need Mega Juice, and Matt says, you technically don't need it. Yeah, no one actually needs that stuff. You play Old Monster Hunter, Mayan? You're a first generation player? You play Freedom and Monster Hunter G. I suppose you would play Monster Hunter Portable, wouldn't you? I would like to play more Monster Hunter G. Well, I haven't really played any Monster Hunter G, to be honest. I just want to play in the guild quests in Mineguard. That's where I'd like to go. Mineguard, it's a lovely looking place. It's very rustic, very old Monster Hunter, and I'd love to explore it. But I've never been to Mineguard, and I feel like I'm missing out, so there you go. But we've got a full group, which is good to see. I don't know what is going to come next. Maybe the temptation is always to do the quests of the lowest hunter rank, but we'll see what Gabriella's doing. Gabriella seems to have HR broken. Don't know what to though. What have we got here? 38 and no skills. Gabriella, forget Mega Dash Juice, you need armor skills. Fucking hell. Imagine coming into a room with no armor skills and saying, I need Mega Juice. Forget the fucking Mega Juice. Gabriella might have another option. I really don't know why, if you had an option with armor skills, you would just go with a random cobbled together mixed set for defense. I mean, that's awful, you know, when a person is actually HR broken in G rank and they have no skills, like, what the fuck were you doing? And who was carrying you through without telling you to make a fucking armor set? You know, it's irresponsible to me. I understand that maybe some high hunter ranks just don't care, but come on. You're not doing the person a service by carrying them to the end of G rank with nothing but just cobbled together armor pieces for the sake of defense. You're not doing them any favors whatsoever. So, yeah, honestly. The original Dundormer, I never experienced either, of course, because that was DOS. But Lochlac was great. You know, based on my experience in Lochlac, I would love to experience Dundormer as well. And Mineguard too, of course. Dundormer, of course, made a reappearance in 4 Ultimate, but not the full Dundormer. I would assume that the original Dundormer would have come complete with a, like an upgradable house. That's usually what they do. But, yeah, that's how it was in Mineguard and in Lochlac, so I would imagine that's how it was in Dundormer. You can still access the quest board room in 4 Ultimate for Dundormer, but it's not used as such, of course. It just retains the visual appearance of it. Plesioth, so let's go Thunder. I'll probably go Gunlance. Will I go Gunlance? It's a bit boring, isn't it? Just because I feel like no, let's do it. The reason why I say it's a bit boring is because I feel like I've recently used this Gunlance a lot, but yeah, of course, I do still need to work on my Awakened Gunlance set, but I just need one more long fragment, really. One more long fragment. Gabriella left the room. Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bully you out, and I certainly didn't intend for that. I mean, maybe Gabriella took what I said too literally. You know, I said you need armor skills. Not to the extent where I would tell you to leave if you don't have another option, but, you know. It's true that sometimes when you say something, people will interpret it in a way that you didn't mean, you know. I wasn't necessarily saying equip something with armor skills or get out, but that's how she interpreted that, or he interpreted that. And, yeah, unfortunately that person isn't able to play. And, while I don't agree with the fact that the person was taken to the endgame of G rank without a single armor skill, I wouldn't necessarily prevent that person from playing with me. You know, they would need to play with someone to fix that. That's the idea. There's no point complaining about the fact the person has no armor skills, but you're not willing to help them in any way. I have to go to Barioth Materials and sell those extra stacks. Where are my Barioth Materials? Probably... no. Must be here? No, that's Lagombi. Shit. Barioth? See, this is Ivory Laggy. This is Barioth, okay. So we have extra cortexes. Anything else? No, that seems to be it. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Ami has joined. Who's Ami? Was playing with Ami recently, I think. Like, last recording. I think it was Amy and the person I... No, it wasn't Amy and the person I pissed off. Oh, Amy's the fucking Great Kelby Deer Shot. The person who uses the Great Kelby Deer Shot but actually charges it instead of just, you know, tapping X to do level 1 charges. Or non-charge, basically. Oh, God. Hey, Exio. I don't know who you're calling king. Hope it's not me. Certainly wouldn't want a title such as that. Comes with too much responsibility. It's not too bright, is it? It's a bit bright. Yeah, I'm going to reduce the brightness of my room light because I'm getting a lot more natural lighting than what I'd set the recording up for, so I'm just going to fix that. Also, while I'm thinking of it, I was looking in my box to see what I was missing and it was barrel bombs, so I just wanted to fix that there. I think I've eaten. Okay. So that's going to be a little better. Good for chroma key too. All good. Oh yeah, Amy was really getting up Vernon's goat because Vernon has the appropriate slime bow setup. In other words, he chose not to use the Great Kelby Deer Shot style of play, so as a result, he picked a bow that was more appropriate for charging it, right? He chooses to charge up to level 3, and therefore he gets the damage bonus of that by way of the Brachydios bow, but Amy, on the other hand, I believe, is using rapid. Like, if she's charging it, I believe that charges up to like a rapid level 3 or 4, and the raw damage isn't all that good, and it's just dumb overall. Thanks in advance, homies, says Matt. Yeah, no problem. We're all kings. Well, we're definitely kings compared... Well, let's not say that. Again, don't need to turn this into a old Monster Hunter versus new Monster Hunter war. But I do have my preferences, and I do have my personal beliefs. And, yeah. Okay. Hope someone's got a frog. Well, actually it doesn't matter. Matt is already engaging underwater, so we can't fish him out, sadly. Not sure what you're talking about, Exio, as far as being in shock. What are you talking about? Me being stressed out? I really don't know what would be enough to put you in shock over something that a friend of yours told you about. Something that happened regarding me, and would lead you to hope that I'm no longer as stressed out. I'm very confused. I will remain confused forever, most likely. I think I have guard up with this set, so that's good. Oh. Stop! No, never. Didn't want to do that up thrust anymore. Oh, right. Yeah, like as far as hunting with noob players, well, that's not a big deal. I just... Because obviously the theme in recent recordings when it comes to 3 Ultimate is, wow, this team sucks, and wow, they don't just suck, but they also lack common sense, etc, etc. I mean, it is what it is, and it doesn't really stress me out as much as it serves as good material for making snarky comments and things of that nature. It can be bothersome, yeah, but I'm not at a point in my experience where I would let it really affect me negatively. So, if I was trying to actually get hunts done, like if I was looking to get materials and make weapons and armor and I was really on task, yeah, it would be frustrating to have a shit team all the time and to fail quests and things like that. It would be very annoying, but at this point, even having said that, quest failure doesn't come too often even with these terrible teams here in this game. Quest failure seems to be happening more often with shit teams in Generations Ultimate, to be completely honest, but yeah. It is what it is. The only thing you can do is support them and hope that eventually they'll stop playing like shit. I mean, we all would have played like shit when we first started. Possibly... Well, no, I fortunately suffered alone. I wouldn't have ever been the source of someone else's frustration when I was a beginner, because when I was a beginner, I was playing solo in Freedom Unite. By the time I played Try, I had a pretty good head on my shoulders when it came to hunting, especially considering that, you know, if you started in 1st or 2nd gen and then moved on to 3rd gen, you were in good stead to see no real challenge going forward, because the hardest experience has now been put behind you. Now you're in 3rd gen, where it is technically easier. Which is why some people didn't like 3rd gen. They wanted to stay in 1st and 2nd, and they remain there to this day. But there was more to the change from 2nd to 3rd gen than just Monster Hunter becoming easier. That was a byproduct. And you know why it became easier? It's because you didn't have to fight the terrible game mechanics anymore. Or, you know, the rough game mechanics that were not well designed, you know. In other words, you were fighting the game mechanics more than you were fighting the monsters, so... Yeah, that was old Monster Hunter, and I don't dislike that necessarily, it's just... That is not something to look at and objectively say, oh, the old games were better because they were more poorly designed and as a result they were harder, and therefore I want a harder Monster Hunter experience, so 3rd gen is bad. You know, if that's ever someone's opinion, then that is founded in stupidity, in my opinion. It's all opinion at the end of the day, isn't it? But yes, in my view, that's founded in stupidity, and is certainly misguided. We can have preferences, but I certainly wouldn't... I would not support any viewpoint that is the following. 3rd gen is inferior because it's easier. That is completely ignorant to me. And I sort of, in some ways, look at... Well, no, let's not get into the 5th gen argument, but the point is, there are more issues with 5th gen than a matter of difficulty. That's the thing. Some people would look at that and say, oh, well, Doomlink, how does that work for your arguments against 5th gen? Well, how it works is, I don't care about difficult versus easy. That's not what bothers me. It's the experience of Monster Hunter that's changed. Someone dropped a bomb right on Plesioth there. Now, I don't know if you saw what happened, but Plesioth actually got up off the ground before the bombs actually fully exploded. In other words, the wake-up was not the large barrel bomb, but rather the small barrel bomb. In other words, there was no real point sleeping there. There was, well, yes, we were able to set up our bombs and get bomb damage off, I suppose, but you're missing out so much damage by poorly placing the small barrel bomb and causing the small barrel bomb to wake up the monster. What you do is you put the small barrel bomb away from the monster itself, but close enough to detonate the large bombs, and have a large barrel bomb do the increased wake-up damage, thus waking up the monster. And you can always tell if the monster's been woken up by the bombs, because the monster won't get up immediately upon the explosion. Why is that? It's because the explosion of a bomb does not deal the damage immediately. Like, there will be a delay of about half a second between the moment the explosion animation takes place for a bomb and the damage dealing period. Now, you can actually test that out for yourself by kicking a bomb and actually watching to see how long it takes for you to get launched by the bomb and take hits from it, or take damage from it, versus the animation of the explosion itself. That's why you never shoot into bombs, thus hitting the monster before the bomb can do the wake up, etc, etc. I mean, that's just sleep bombing 101, and unfortunately some people don't know how that works, so it is what it is. And yeah, you would expect that the older games would attract better players, but it can be a good thing as well to see that there are still shit players in the older games, because it means that there's new blood in the older games. This is what's going to keep it alive. You know, I don't necessarily want to be playing a series that's dead. I don't want to be in Monster Hunter, in old Monster Hunter, and feeling like I've got no one here with me experiencing it alongside me. With slowly but surely more and more people leaving over time for one reason or another. Maybe they move on to different game series and they just lose interest. I mean, you know, things like that. You don't have to worry about that as much if people are coming into the older games brand new and wanting to experience it. And there will always be some people who get involved in Monster Hunter in the newer games and choose to look back and actually try to experience the older games. There are so many people who don't bother to do that, and I have respect for the people who choose to do that, who decide that that might be a good idea for themselves, and maybe just to see how it is so they can come to a more informed decision about the direction Monster Hunter's going in. So, I have respect for those people. It is hard sometimes when you're hunting with really shitty players, but part of me prefers that. Of course, I don't feel that way when we fail a quest because some guy dies 3 times, or, you know, I'm getting launched away from a monster because the person doesn't know how to hunt as a team. But, yeah, when you really stop and think about it, it is a good thing that we've still got people who are beginners. As far as what I'd use for this quest, I think water is the way to go, isn't it? Because they're both weak to water. What's a good water weapon that I would like to use? Let's think about this. How about dual blades? What are my water dual blades? I've got no idea. We'll go honed, and we'll pick out some water dual blades. I don't seem to use dual blades too often in this game. I don't know why. It just doesn't cross my mind. What are my water dual blades? Master Sabers, that's right. The old first-gen Master Sabers. Yeah. Honestly, they're not that great, the Master Sabers. I've never thought they were very good dual blades, but that's usually your best bet for water dual blades in a lot of games. So, that's what you end up going with. I think they're interesting visually, but stats-wise, they've never been all that good, you know. They've just had reasonable raw damage and pretty low element, and nothing to write home about regarding the sharpness. They've just always been kind of whatever. Although the sharpness is pretty good there if you've got sharpness +1. That's actually quite good sharpness, isn't it? Well, I guess I'm being unfair about the sharpness, aren't I? But I seem to recall that with sharpness +1 in first gen, the sharpness still was pretty... Well, it wasn't like this, we'll put it that way. It was probably half that amount of blue and half that amount of white. Keeping in mind there was no purple sharpness in first gen. Purple sharpness first appeared in Freedom Unite. So, yeah. They definitely upped the sharpness. Maybe that's what they chose to do. Rather than boosting the raw damage and the element, they decided to make the sharpness more reasonable, which is probably the best thing to do, because really, the raw isn't that bad. The raw's fine, like 350 inflated. It's actually quite fine, with an end raw value of 408. Yeah, that's actually not so bad at all. You can see that it's more about the raw damage than the elementals, so... Look, I'd say these weapons are actually not too bad. I think I was being a bit unfair. But for some reason, that was the impression that was left on me across the games. Maybe these are my water dual blades in Freedom Unite as well. Are they? I'm trying to think. I think they are. I have a feeling that they are. I wonder if it's exactly the same here as it was in Freedom Unite. Maybe the change was made as far as boosting the sharpness back in Freedom Unite. I'm not sure. But anyway, they're reasonable here. There's a dragon branch of them in Rise. That's interesting. I guess that's one way to save time on weapon designs. They're still doing it. They're still cutting corners with weapon designs, aren't they? A dragon branch of the Master Sabers. Something that they haven't done for 4 generations of Monster Hunter, and now in 5th they're like, let's do it! And it just happens to be in the game where they are being pressured to not have shitty weapon designs like they had in World. So, yeah. It's a very cynical way to look at it, but I see it as a shortcut to the result that they got in World for themselves, but without making it blindingly obvious. Like, for example, having the same base design and then some slight difference between all the weapons. But having said that, they have put a lot of effort into the weapon designs in Rise, so that might be viewed as an unfair criticism, and may very well be, in fact, an unfair criticism. Oh, that's right, it's Giganox, so Rocksteady is insufficient. It won't be insufficient for Brachydios, though, so it's not a complete waste. That's more than a bit off topic, Axia. Oh god. I would have been pretty livid had I managed to get hit at that angle by that attack. That just would have been stupid. Anyway. Oh. Already down to purple. Or, excuse me, already lost purple and down to white. Might get my charge back up. Whoa, that fucking head. We can watch him charging up his Kelby deer shot to shoot rapid as opposed to spread. And he's actually got exhaust coatings on the thing. It's an interesting thing to look at. It's a rarity. But, yeah. That's how she wants to play. No one's going to tell her otherwise, because everyone probably agrees that it's a good thing that she's not using the Kelby deer shot properly, because it means it's not going to be a super fast hunt. So she's probably never going to find out that she's using it totally wrong. I'm sure someone will tell her eventually, though. Some smart ass is going to be like, oh, you're using it all wrong, you idiot. You know, some hunter rank 999 that's probably not playing at the moment. Most of those sorts of players aren't around anymore. Oh shit, that was lingering for a long time. Yeah, not too many of those people anymore. They used to be around though. Thanks for trying, Amy. You can see that if Giganox has something on his back, if he ends up rolling onto his back on account of a flinch, the thing that was on his back will be crushed by his own weight and therefore disappear. Which is a nice little attention to detail there. Ugh, just got out of range of that. He's limping off, of course. He's got reduced health. Seems to be in a little bit of pain. Sounds like it, looks like it. He's got one of those real violent limps. Well, not violent in animation, but it looks like he's really in pain. Some limps are more aggressive looking than others. Some are a bit subtle, don't look too bad. And then others you just go, oh, you must be in real pain. Let's put you out of your misery. Which was good timing, given the statement. N10 is using the Nibble Snarf Gun Lance. What is my water gun lance in this game? It's not Nibble Snarf, it's something else. What did I choose? Water gun lance. What am I using? Oh, it's the Plesioth gun lance. I had decided that that was better. But I'd say, well, even design-wise, it really depends on your preference. If you like a big rifle with a bayonet on the end of it as your gun for the gun lance, well, as your gun lance, I guess you would say, well, that's probably going to be what you want to go with, but I'd say the Plesioth gun lance looks pretty good as well. Is it a girl? Well, I don't know. I'd say it would be unfair to assume it's male. And I don't think it's a terrible thing to refer to a female character with a female name as female, and then it actually ends up being male. Like, it was that person's choice to have a female character with a female name, so I will give them the benefit of the doubt and assume they may actually be female. And you know what? I make female characters with female names, and if someone wants to assume that I'm female, I'm not going to be sitting there going, no, you're wrong! You know, I'm not going to throw a fucking tantrum over it, and I would hope that they wouldn't feel betrayed to know that I'm male. Like, it's not a big deal at the end of the day. Who's going to fucking detonate that? No one, I guess. Oh, there we go. Might have been... Oh, yeah. Well, it was Ami's job anyway. She's the one with ranged capabilities. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I do the same thing, N10, really. Because it's no fun just using the same damn weapon all the time. Like, especially if you're frequently going gun lance. At that point, you're going to get sick of using the same water gun lance every time, so yeah, it makes sense to change to something else. I don't have bombs now, so Seems that N10's got them. May as well at least try to get a good detonation out. As you can see, I'm just throwing the paintball off to the side, which is still close enough to detonate the bombs themselves, and then the wake-up ends up being the bombs, as opposed to some small barrel bomb or some stray shot from a bow or something like that. Which is good. As far as how the wake-up works, when you've got large barrel bombs and large barrel bomb plus, like which one's prioritized, highest damage, or is there technically timing there, like the first one to explode and then there's a chain reaction? Like, I don't know how it works in terms of damage on the wake-up hit, because that's the idea. You can only get damage off a single bomb for the wake-up hit. There's probably a misconception that somehow if you put down 4 bombs you're going to get the multiplier on 4 bombs worth of damage. No, you get the multiplier on a single bomb's worth of damage. Otherwise, the thing would just fucking die if you were multiplying the damage of 4 bombs. So, and I don't know if it's a double or triple damage multiplier. I actually don't know. I think it's double, because triple sounds extreme. It may actually differ depending on the game, but it's a significant multiplier regardless. They've been very generous with multipliers in the older games, so it might be smaller now compared to what it used to be. For example, in first generation, pitfall traps, double multiplier for all damage dealt to the monster while in a pitfall trap. How crazy is that? So pitfall trapping in first gen, ooh, it gets your hunts done very quickly. So yeah, they're less generous now, I think, with multipliers as a result. The monster I killed is female? This is the thing, like, you have to be clearer when you say things. You can't just make statements. I can only go based on what you're saying in relation to what's going on at the time, and sometimes it's not clear. If you say, is it a girl, I'm not going to know if you're referring to the monster or the female player that I've been referring to the whole time. But I don't know, it could be female, because some subspecies are female. For example, Black Diablos is a female subspecies of regular Diablos. I'm sure there is lore-based information. It's probably written in some fucking Japanese art book somewhere. It's never clearly written. It's always hidden information that someone has to scrounge up. But yeah. You think Brachydios is the best flagship monster? He's pretty good, he's definitely striking. They made a terrible mistake making Azure Rathalos the flagship of 3 Ultimate in the West. That was just dumb. I do agree that he looks very nice, especially with the Hunter in his outfit. You know, lovely colour, really nice colour. But Brachydios is more striking and unique looking, and that really should have been the flagship that they went with. The Japanese flagship is oftentimes not the Western flagship, and I don't know why. I think what it is the marketing team just wants something that they think is going to be most striking to Western audiences. Maybe it looks too unusual to Western audiences. Western audiences might gravitate more towards just a generic looking dragon that happens to be coloured nicely. I don't know, but I would definitely say that they fucked up on that front. Oh, we're going for a capture, aren't we? Okay, I don't mind too much. I was sort of planning on playing Rise after the update Juvenator back when I was first playing it, but not long after I stopped, probably a week or 2 after, I realised that I would never return to it again, so I will not be playing it for the update, which was supposed to be an April update, wasn't it? I don't know if that even happened, but if it's getting the big update it was supposed to now, or it's already had it, I don't know what's even happening with the game. Point is, I'm not returning to it for any update during the high rank part of the game, and I'm not going to be getting the expansion and playing it at that time. I'm never returning to that game ever again. I'm done with it. Done. Just as I am with World. I'm done with 5th gen, and possibly with all Monster Hunter going forward. So, in other words, the only Monster Hunter games that I'm going to play are Generations 1, 2, 4, and everything 5th gen can fuck off. Thank you very much. That's the way it's going to be, and I take no pleasure in that, but it's just the way I feel. Got some true armor spheres, which are very good. I can never seem to get enough of those true armor spheres. I'm always needing them. There are so many armor sets that I still haven't fully upgraded, and I don't know why. They're really stingy with true armor spheres in this game. I don't think it's because I just never do the quests that drop true armor spheres. Or maybe that is what it is. I mean, I seem to always get at least 2 or 3 from quests that drop them. It just seems to be the case that I don't do many quests that drop them. I don't know, but... yeah. Point is, I never have the number of true armor spheres that I need to fully upgrade what I want to fully upgrade. I don't know if any of this is fully upgraded. I might just go and upgrade it for the sake of it. This is one of my main Blade Master armor sets, so I would like to, at the very least, fully upgrade this. Pink Raytheon, okay. We'll go Dragon Element. Also, hello Jenny. Let's go and upgrade anything that might need to be upgraded. Here we go. Nether Folds, these have been left behind. And there we go. Outside of that, I'm just going to try and, I mean, even now I'm running out of true armor spheres very quickly. I think you can combine armor stones with something to make true armor spheres. It's like, is it melange? I don't think melange's in this game, is it? Whatever it is. There's something that creates true armor spheres in this game, and I don't think I have that. So I don't have the true armor spheres, and I don't have the stuff that you can combine to create true armor spheres, so I'm just kind of at a loss at the moment. What was I going to do? What was I going to use, element-wise? It's getting very dark. Oh, God. When the sun just disappears like that, it's a real problem. Anyway, I'll fix that in a moment. In terms of element, I think... Dragon, that's right. How long have I been live for, Beta? Almost an hour. Top 3 favourite Monster Hunters? Mainline? I guess it would have to be Freedom Unite, 3 Ultimate, and 4 Ultimate, probably. Those would be the 3. Not in that order. The order that I would put it in would be 3 Ultimate, Freedom Unite, and 4 Ultimate. That's what I would say. And 4 Ultimate is 4 Ultimate is shockingly closely tied with Portable Third. Shockingly close. It only edges out Portable Third because it's a G rank game and has more content. That's really the only reason, so. Let's go Greatsword. Oh, I'm getting some natural lighting back. Just as I was thinking of addressing it. Well, I hope you come good soon, Jenny. Let's actually hurry up and get ready for this quest. You know how sometimes I just sort of sit here and stare at my equipment sets for 5 minutes at a time, just leaving people waiting for me? That's definitely what I'm doing at the moment. What is my Dragon Greatsword going to be? Elatrion Revolution, I think. Or Evolutia, it's called. The Revolution is the name of the high rank weapon. Evolutia is the G rank. And of course it received its first G rank naming in this game. Because both Try was a high rank game and Portable Third didn't get an official translation, so yeah. And they were both high rank. Oh, let's check this. It's not like Ultra Lucky Cat is going to necessarily be helpful to me. It's not like although, Raytheon Mantles never go astray, do they? We'll go and grab the Raytheon Mantle. As if it's guaranteed to drop because I get Unlucky Cat. What I really meant to say was let's get Unlucky Cat. Excuse me, Ultra Lucky Cat. Oh, I'm a mess. Anyway. Charms +1 unfortunately doesn't work with this weapon, so it always feels like a bit of a waste to use this weapon with this set, but... Wait, I don't really want high grade earplugs, do I? No. Let's change. Changing my armor set because I don't need high-grade earplugs. The high-grade earplug set, I don't believe, has critical draw. No, has critical I+1, so I would rather take critical draw if I can get away with it. And I certainly can for this hunt. So let's get the weapon. Thank you. And it's just nice to see it again. I don't use the Elatrion weapons very much, in case you hadn't noticed. But I do love the way they look. They look very good. Oh god, they're doing arm wrestling now, aren't they? Oh dear. It was a close match. Best of 3. You really want to do 3? You get a bit tired by the third one if you're actually serious about it. What we'll do is I'll go up against N10. Lucky, yeah, bullshit. We're not doing best of 3, Matt. We'll be sitting here all day. I used to be undefeated in Tri with this very controller, but I'm not as good anymore. Oh, hurts my wrists now. Anyway, don't want to be arm wrestling all day. They simplified arm wrestling in World, by the way. People are like, huh, don't you just rotate or whatever it is. I think it's you press one button, isn't it? I think you press one button in World, but it used to be all button inputs would affect it. And the same was the case for getting out of stun. Same thing. You know, the faster you can get out of stun, the faster you can... well, the better you'll be at arm wrestling. Arm wrestling is basically the same as getting out of stun. Same system, but it's invisible, and you can make a competition out of it. Yeah, a dink is so strong. Best feline canteen kitchen? That's a hard one. I suppose it would be Try and 3 Ultimate. That would be my favourite. It's what I'm most comfortable with. It's hard to say because even Capcom hasn't been able to stick with something consistently. So it feels as if they're not really happy with any feline kitchen or canteen they've ever conceptualized. And I don't know if I think they're all perfect either. I just know that I didn't like how they were doing it in 1st and 2nd gen. I thought that was crap. You know, with the cats that had the varying levels, varying levels of proficiency with their respective food type, and then they had skills, not the food. And it's a bit weird, and it wasn't well designed. Try sort of fixed that, and I kind of like what Try did, I guess. It sort of kept the spirit of the original system, but made it a little less retarded. And I guess that's probably my preference, you know, the original idea just less retarded, which is basically how you would summarize 3rd generation. It's the original spirit of Monster Hunter, just without all the mess. I mean, 2nd generation is only as bad as it is to the eyes of those who haven't experienced 1st and 2nd, generally speaking. The only reason why it is the way it is because it had so much to fix from 1st gen. 1st gen was a royal mess, and for that reason, 2nd gen just couldn't be that much better than 1st because of how much they had on their plate to fix. So, yeah, they fixed a lot. Anyone who's played 1st and 2nd can tell you that 2nd feels very smooth and clean. Very smooth and clean, if you have been playing 1st gen recently. So... yeah, but it's just a matter of being used to it. If you're used to 1st gen, then that's great, because that's a whole generation of Monster Hunter that you can appreciate. And I'm getting better with it, you know, I'm actually pretty well desensitized to the issues of 1st gen at this point, so it took a little while, but a good session on Freedom 1, building up my character in G rank, really allowed me to not necessarily appreciate 1st generation, but at the very least get to a point where it wasn't really awful and depressing anymore. Hey, there we go. I'm actually going to carve this Nahabra, because this would be the sort of thing that I don't have much of. Nahabra materials, so I may as well get them. I might do a greatsword wake up here if you can forgive me. Which you can, and you should. There we go. Nothing wrong with taking the hit there. But yeah, I mean, technically you're not getting the wake up on the bombs, but you don't want to. You'd be getting way more damage with a level 3 greatsword charge wake up on the head. Way more damage. But then you can get the additional damage of the bombs that just happen to be there anyway. So, that is a good sleep bomb technique. You don't want to be dumb and choose to get a multiplier on a bomb over something like a level 3 greatsword charge on the head with the appropriate element. So, yeah, you have to be sensible about your damage application. And not everyone is. Not everyone is. Uh-oh. Get away from that damn tail. Fortunately, I was on the right side, as in the correct side, of the Raytheon so as not to be hit by that tail swing, because that tail swing leans to one specific side of the body, as you can see. It's not directly beneath. It is instead either on the left or right. So that's how she works. And it's nasty when you first experience it. Keeping in mind, I believe that first appeared in Portable Third? Would that have been? The angled tail swing? Or was that... Yeah, it was Portable Third, that was the first game. Prior to that point, in all games up until Portable Third, it was unidirectional, that tail swing, so therefore it was a very predictable. It was a very predictable thing, and it really fucked with a lot of people when they made it angled. Uh-oh. Keep away from that small barrel bomb. But what I will do, and I used to do this every single time in Try, I would jump off the edge just before the quest would end. Just listening to the music. There we go. Now, of course, you can actually load into the next area. I don't think N10... I think N10 jumped way too soon. I was going to say something, but... yeah, basically what you do is you make it so that you can't actually load into the next area. And then you just float there. And it was very funny in Try because in the late game of Try, that was just the thing people did. So I did it fairly early on because I think I had done it by accident one time. I think I got launched off the edge. The funniest situation was to get launched off the edge by a bomb or by an upswing or something, and then you're like sort of upside down and floating in the air. But the great thing was to get a group together, and then you were all floating in the air together as a group. And that was good fun. But you don't see it as much anymore. Oh, shit. I hate it when I've got additional stacks and I just don't know where they are. It's fine if they're at the end, but if they're not at the end, I'm fucked. What would it have been? Pink Raytheon, possibly? Yeah, it must have been pink materials. Where art thou, Pink Raytheon? Must be back here. Probably missing. Going straight past them or something. Here we go. Anything... Shard, here we go. And that's all. Didn't get a fucking mantle. Cloudless Thunder, great. Huh. Chroma key actually looks alright. Yeah, no one ever jumps like into Area 11, do they, N10? I don't know if I ever did that in the past. I might have. Maybe there's more to see when you float in the air there. Oh, Matt wants to go. He said that N10's victory before was lucky, so let's see if he can beat the guy who was lucky against him. Whoops, I almost didn't start at the right time. I'm trying a little harder for him. Why do I assume you'd be better? Anyway. You gonna say I'm lucky too, or are you gonna admit? My arm, he says. Yeah, it hurts. It does hurt. He was obviously trying too, you know. If the person finishes the arm wrestle and is like, ow, my arm, it shows that they were trying, which is good. You don't want to be going up against some guy who's like, oh, who cares? If I win or lose, you know, you've got to lay it all down. This is serious business. Collecting souls in arm wrestling, yes indeed. No, I did consider myself undefeated in try, but I was a tryhard in every respect in that game. Well, you can call it tryhard. Ethan calls me a try-sweat. But, you know, I will freely admit that. I was a meta player, I was a, you know, speed trapper, adrenaline fucking hunter back then. But now, forget that, I don't have time for it. What are we doing again? Cloudless Thunder. Something ice and maybe a weapon that I don't often use. I don't think I have my ice hunting horn, because that requires a bunch of spikes, doesn't it? Barrioth spikes. And I had used all my Barrioth spikes for something else. Unless I actually ended up making it. No. See, it's unupgraded there. No, forget hunting horn. Stupid weapon. Okay, switch axe. Because I was thinking, okay, well if hunting horn's a stupid weapon, what's another stupid weapon? And then straight into my mind rushes switch axe. Much to the chagrin of switch axe fans everywhere, that I would dare suggest that switch axe is a shitty weapon type. But it is. It's a nothing weapon type to me, but exactly, Autonomic. As I say, it's the best game to try hard in because it's literally called Monster Hunter Try, so yeah. Hey, wait, I thought that was Exchanger, but it was Game Changer. Exchanger, Game Changer, ooh, pretty close, but no cigar, as they say. Yeah, there's the thing that N10 mentioned. I've never done that myself. There aren't really too many game-breaking bugs. Probably the most well-known one would be the Abyssal Laggy glitch, where you can basically cheese him with a gunner team by going on the other side of a rock entranceway that he can't pass through. He can go over it, but only very occasionally, and if he does go over it, you just go to the other side of it. And basically you can shoot him without really having to worry too much. He can still hit you, but you just have to be careful. Very good for cheesing him. So, yeah. And apparently Iceman Noob deleted his channel or something, so I think I'm the only YouTube tutorial of that. It was on some old channel that I never put videos on, but yeah. I think it was April 2014 when I did that tutorial. And it was the one and only tutorial I've ever done. So, I mean, yeah, I would do it a little differently today, but considering how quickly I had done it and all of that, I felt that it was alright, you know, the result was fine. And, you know, I wouldn't change it now. It's... The two things that I would change is first and foremost my loadout. The loadout was just what I happened to have at the time, and I was sort of talking it up as if that was a good thing to go with, you know, I was talking up defense up and talking up fire damage and all that sort of crap, just to sort of legitimize what I'd chosen to use. But again, that's all I had on hand at the time. And as well as that, I would make it so that it sounded less as if I was reading off a script and more like just talking off the top of my head sort of thing. In other words, working out roughly what I wanted to say and then just speaking without clearly reading off a script. The script was pretty quickly done, and you know, all a quick process, so again, looking back on it, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. But I just think that in general I probably could make a better tutorial video today, even though I've really only ever done one. Ugh. Let's go hit that tail. Because if we're going to do Cloudless Thunder, we want the best possible chance for Skymeralds. Ended up not really needing to morph out of the sword mode there. So I was just going to go carve the tail anyway. And the reason why I do that is because otherwise I will forget to do it. I don't do it because I just desperately need to carve it because it's distracting and I can't help myself. It's because it's really the opposite. It's the opposite of distracting for me. I forget about it because what happens is, you know, 2 or 3 minutes will pass, the monster leaves the area, and then I just go and pursue the monster because I want to fight it. I want to kill it. Meanwhile, I completely forget about the tail that's just sitting there, and then I never carve it. So that's why I noob carve, if anyone ever wants to know. It's because I might forget otherwise. That's the only reason why. Oh, another sleep. Well, it's a bit weird to have so many sleeps, but I will use 1 bomb for this one. Yeah, go play Charge Blade. Well, I practically... You dick! You... The small bomb is becoming the wake-up hit. I mean, it's Ami doing it. Ami just doesn't realize that the wake-up hit is increased damage. It's just dumb. Like, we're going to the trouble of dropping bombs and having sleep, and then... I mean, the ultimate irony is that it's Ami's sleep, and Ami's the one fucking it up. All on her own, so... I mean, if the person doesn't know about wake-up hit multipliers, then I guess there would be no reason not to do it that way, would there? But it's not new information. It's kind of just, it's something that you pick up just by being alive and playing Monster Hunter. I don't know. Ow. That's a big Zenogre. Look at him, he's a fucking beast. There's a gold crown large, I would say. That would be my guess. Are you gonna limp out, or what are you doing? Hopefully he's limping out soon. Maybe we're not doing that much damage, I don't know, but shit. I'd like you to maybe leave, and then maybe I can go and capture you. Oh, he's limping out. I'll go and capture that one. So, Ami, you fucking stay here, please. Stop chasing it. Ami will not. Oh! Oh! Nice! Nice! I'm impressed. Thank you, Ami. So what I'm going to do is do this as quickly as I can, because I only have a shock trap. It'll be pretty embarrassing if he limps out, and then I fail the capture after saying, I'll go capture this one. But, yeah. Rucci or Frucci, says Matt. I don't know what the fuck that means. You can see that when you drop down a shock trap, not enraged, Zenogre actually takes the shock electricity and uses it to charge himself up. I don't believe he gets 2 charges from that, he'll get just 1 charge. It is effectively just one full animation that he does where he sort of howls and charges himself up. But, yeah, it is what it is. Provided he's not enraged or fully charged, which is effectively his rage mode, shock traps will work against him. Is Ami a viewer? Don't think so. If Ami was a viewer, she would have listened and paid attention to the fact that she shouldn't be dropping bombs that will become the wake-up hit. Like small bombs that become the wake-up hit. I had typed in the chat that I was going to capture that one, so Ami made the connection in her mind, which I wasn't necessarily expecting, that she would be better off just hunting the other one and leaving the capture to me. That's why I was surprised. I mean, you'd think that that would be common sense, but not everyone has that. This is the point. So, also collecting shinies is important if you're looking for Sky Emeralds also. I said also twice, which means that yes, you should be doing it. Let's go grab the shiny. Another sleep. Well, I saved a bomb for it. Let's get a proper wake up this time. Entei is always welcome to Wyvern Fire if he has it, but I can't quite see his gun lance there. He probably had one ready, but I don't know. Hey Vernon, good to see you. You're welcome to come and join us if you'd like to. We've got a full room, but we can make room. I'll probably kick Ami just on the basis of her being, you know, Ami. She's the one, oh, you're at work, okay. She's the one who has the Great Kelby Deer Shot and is charging it. She's still kicking around with the same set and using it in the same way. So it's pretty standard over there. Aiming for that tail. Here we go. And we'll reload. Oh, never mind, can't reload, just left the reload spectrum, I guess we could say. Or the part of the spectrum where you can reload. The charge level that's reloadable, there you go. Anyway, figuring out how to explain things clearly is an important thing. It helps, I hear. And is oftentimes not good enough. Because sometimes I'll explain something and people don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Which is just good fun. Oh, kind of want to aim for the head, but I'd rather not mess people up with my switch axe. My lovely, lovely switch axe. Well, that's a good thing to resort to, Beta, because Freedom Unite and Portable Third's good fun. If you're in high rank in Portable Third or G rank in Freedom Unite, let me know and I will hunt with you in Hunsterverse for sure. Whenever you'd like to, provided I have time, and the availability to do so. I actually won't do 3 Ultimate tomorrow, Vernon, because I was planning on doing something non-Monster Hunter tomorrow. Most likely, Lament of Innocence. Oopsie poopsie, says Matt. Well, you'd better get yourself over here quickly. At least you've got the 3rd gen starting point and not the 4th gen. Or not just 4th gen, but the Portable 3rd starting point as well. Portable 3rd and all other games other than... Well, okay, let's say the non-Tri/3 Ultimate starting point for Deserted Island. To try to make it less convoluted. Okay, well we can do Portable 3rd at some point, Beta, that might be nice. Portable 3rd is the one that I technically have more stuff to do in. I don't need to make armor or weapons or anything like that, but in terms of working on the guild card, yeah, I have more to do there, just because when I lost my original saves for Portable 3rd and Freedom Unite, I remade both around 2012, like late 2011, early 2012, but the one that I remade at that time for Portable 3rd I didn't stick with for Hunsterverse because it had some stupid name that was random Japanese characters that I couldn't read at the time. I just, for some reason, decided that I wanted some... I think what it was that I had forgotten that I could actually type in English there on that keyboard, so I just put in a random Japanese name, and then I think it would have been in 2018, went and checked it and actually could at that time read hiragana, and I was like, ooh. It was like Wanata Kaede or something like that. It was just awful and stupid. So, yeah, I decided to leave that character behind and remake it. My point being that my P3rd character currently is a newer character than my Freedom Unite character. So, yeah. My Freedom Unite character is about, 9 years old or so, whereas my P3rd character is closer to 3 years old. But both are well and truly end game. And it was sad to lose both of those characters, I can tell you. What game am I playing tomorrow? Castlevania Lament of Innocence. I've done 2 recordings for it so far, and I'll be doing part 3 for that. It's part of what I call the Doomlink's live... not Doomlink's live hunts, the live stream playthrough series. Well, I call it a series. It's more like a format. It's basically me just playing normal games and then trying to have them be long recordings. It's basically just live streaming. The idea is that I like to do things in series for YouTube's sake. But, yeah, it'll be the Castlevania Lament of Innocence live stream playthrough, and it will be part 3 of that. So, Yeah, I'm a Castlevania guy. Castlevania was what I was into before I got into Monster Hunter. It's because of my interest in Castlevania that I even properly discovered Monster Hunter, in fact. I was wanting to get Dracula X Chronicles on the PSP when I discovered Monster Hunter Freedom 2, and I ended up getting Freedom Unite when it came out. So that was good fun. Real good fun. I mean, it shat on me at first, but... And then the irony was that because I was so invested in Freedom Unite, and then at that time, during the same year, Demon Souls, and then not too long after that, in 2010, I was invested in Try, I never actually got onto Dracula X Chronicles, and I left Castlevania behind. I left Zelda and Castlevania behind at that time because I was so invested in Souls and Monster Hunter. So it wasn't until relatively recently that I got back into Castlevania. I'm still not properly into it. I'm still a little bit out of it because I can't play it as well anymore. But yeah, I've done a bit of Castlevania on camera. I've got a Castlevania live stream series actually, just for non-vanilla runs of any Castlevania game. At the moment, I'm doing a fist-only run for Symphony of the Night on PlayStation 1, recorded off my PS2. So, haven't updated that in a long time, but I'll return to that at some point. What would I like to use? I think we've got 2 other people using Slime, so I won't use Slime. I could use something Awaken though. What would I like to use? Maybe Awaken Fire Longsword, whatever that might be? Would I have one? I might. No, it doesn't seem like a... Oh no, Chrome Waltz, excuse me, that's right. I was looking to see... What I was actually looking for was this colour. I was looking for green, but it's all... Ugh, anyway. Yeah, so Chrome Waltz is my fire, or rather Awaken Fire Longsword, so... That's 1006 inflated raw value for a longsword, which is very good, with 160 fire. Not too good in the way of sharpness, bit of negative affinity, but point is it's very high damage, so yeah. What's my take on the development of Castlevania games through each iteration, up to the present day? I'm a Metroidvania fan, personally, that's what I started with, and I have an appreciation for traditional Castlevania. I think Konami really lost their vision for Castlevania to the extent where they just fucking gave up, they just didn't care anymore. I think they really wanted 3D Castlevania to take over and it just didn't, and I think they became a little bit disheartened as a result. Look, I can't speak too much to Castlevania, because A, I stopped playing it like 12 years ago, at least. I'm sort of almost back to playing it, but not. So I'm very outdated on my information. And as well as that, I've probably forgotten a lot of that stuff, so... unfortunately, I can't say too much, but I can say, in terms of my preferences, I don't care for 3D Castlevania. I will play some of it. In fact, that's not fair. When I say I don't care for 3D Castlevania, I can say that I played the demo of Lords of Shadow when it first came out, and I thought, this is not Castlevania, what am I playing? And then I don't really like Nintendo 64 Castlevania because it's just generally gross. But so far I'm enjoying Lament of Innocence, which is my first PS2 Castlevania experience. And after that I'll play Lords of Shadow. And not Lords of Shadow, excuse me, Curse of Darkness. Won't be playing Lords of Shadow anytime soon. I don't know if I ever will, actually, to be honest with you. Don't know if I'll ever play it. Maybe I'll play it just to see what it's like. It'll be a live stream playthrough that may or may not be fun to watch. It might be awful, might be painful, or it might be hilarious. I've got no idea. But yeah, it's not high on my list of priorities. But I did a live stream playthrough of Legacy of Darkness prior to doing Lament of Innocence, so I've got a pretty good idea of what Nintendo 64 Castlevania is like. I first touched 3D Castlevania on the Nintendo 64, but emulated in the early days of Project 64. It was Castlevania 64 that I tried, not Legacy of Darkness. And I thought it was a bit crap at the time, and yeah. I didn't play it until I eventually did my Legacy of Darkness run, which I started last year. Fuck off. I've got energy drinks, I think. No, I don't. Must have put them away. I had energy drinks. Well, I'm glad you are getting some nostalgia from this Erexus. No, Eresus Gaming? Fuck me if I know how to pronounce that. Like all Twitch names that I seem to read. Erecus Gaming, I guess is what it would be. Erecus. Could be Eresus or Erecus. All I can say is... yeah, great. All I can say is nothing, actually. So, this quest is, I believe, sequentially Baggy, Lagombi, Baggy, Lagombi. So, maybe not even in that sequence, actually. But, at the very least, it's 2 of them, and then another 2 of them. I think 2 spawn at one time, in other words. It's probably not one after the other, as I said. Sorry, Anton, I'll try not to fuck you up too much, but you know how it is with longswords. How did the Lagombi die faster? Oh, it's sleeping, right. That's funny, I'm thinking, how did it die so quickly? Well, it didn't die. Are you wyvern firing? Oh, you're doing the wake up. Okay. Hope that was wide and not long. Because I would say even at that distance, long would have hit the monster first, but... yeah, that might be wide shot. I think it's wide, not normal shot. Of course, with gunlance shelling, you've got normal, wide, and long. And the best one for each game changes. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. Like, for example, I think long is the best for... oh, no, I don't even know. Actually, couldn't say. I don't know. Gunlance shelling is something that I don't know much about because I don't care. I actually don't care. What I do with my gunlance shells, usually, is I use them to flinch monsters out of the air, or I use them as like a heavy final shot at the end of the combo. That's what I use shells for. Like, I don't care about the damage they deal. Depending on the type. Just whatever. And it was even simpler in the old days, prior to 3rd gen. You'd just use the shells to, in other words, 2nd gen, I should make that clear. In 2nd gen, the shells were really just to keep your combo going. You'd do 3 strikes with the gun lance, shoot once, and then continue. That was your infinite combo. That is if you wanted to deal damage, rather than do an evasion combo continuation. So, yeah. And I'm not really much of a gun lance fan, to be completely honest with you. As it's probably been clearly demonstrated by my lack of interest in the way shot types work for gun lance. But, yeah. Long shells are the best for you in Generations Ultimate. Lots of part breaks. Well, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. Because it sort of deals damage through the monster. Carve a Mega Potion here. I'm the one guy who healed, which is, you know, it feels great when you're the one guy. Didn't even think about it being long shot type. Well, if it is long shot type, that probably would have been close enough to have the shot be the wake up. But yeah, I'm all about the heavy shot at the end of the gunlance combo and wyvern fire. That's what I care about. And if I'm shelling, it's usually just because I randomly feel like doing it for no reason at all, or if I'm trying to flinch a monster out of the air. So that's how I do it with gunlance. I will try to... you see, Enten can see that I'm here on the anus of the monster, so he's trying to keep away. Or was. I'm doing what I can. Sorry, Enten. It's a terrible idea to use a longsword against small monsters, because that makes it all the easier for you to mess up your teammates. Got him, says Matt. Well, not quite. We failed to one zone, somehow. Sometimes it is luck of the draw on that. Sometimes the monster's very quick to limp. And you just can't quite get the damage out to one zone, but... yeah. Depends on how they flinch. And things like that. There you go. The Chrome Waltz. Interesting longsword that not many people use for very good reasons, because it's not that good, honestly. This is not my kind of weapon, but I use it because it's a little different, and honestly, you could use almost anything in this quest because it's a very easy quest. N10 is doing non-charged upwards shelling. Oh, thank you for that. I've been christened by the Morales gun lance. So, by the looks of it, that looks like a normal shot, actually. I should have been watching it. Is that wide or... no, that's wide, isn't it? Because I think normal is less... it doesn't travel as much. You could see that that shot was quite large and travelling. Long is more focused. It's, as it's described, it's like a long sort of explosion. So in other words, based on the size of that explosion and I guess the shape of it, I would say that's wide shot type. Could always be normal, but I don't think normal's that big of a shot explosion. I think normal's just like a little pathetic. Well, let's not say little and pathetic. We don't want to give normal shot an inferiority complex, because it probably already has one because it's called normal. But yeah, let's say a more muted visual appearance. And Amy is gone. Goodbye, Amy. CYA. CYA. Is the lighting alright? Probably. I've got no idea what's been happening with the lighting. To be honest, I don't give a shit about the lighting, provided it's not extremely dark and provided the chroma key works. If both of those things are happening, then I'm okay. At least today, anyway. Ooh. So. Wonder what our next hunt will be. Our room has opened up to possible other players. I don't know how many people are online at the moment. So I think we'll actually wait a little bit for a fourth to join. Might say Matt can post. You can post, Matt. Oh, you guys want to pick? I will up that. What he said. Indeed. Probably not going to be using the Chrome Waltz again for a little while. Not a fan. It's just a little different and therefore interesting for that reason, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not my kind of weapon. Well, unfortunately, I can't say much about Devil May Cry. I refused to watch the anime at the time because I considered Dante to be a discount Alucard from the Hellsing series, and I never played the games because, I don't know, it didn't interest me. So I can't speak to Devil May Cry. Purple Ludroth. Again, could have just as easily... That's why I said what I said. That's why I said I'm not going to be using the Chrome Waltz again, because I said to myself, you never know, it could be another fire-weak monster, so even if it would be convenient, I'm not using this again. So I might stick with Awaken, but we'll choose Dual Blades or something. What are my Fire Awaken Dual Blades? Let's find out. Oh, Raider's Savagery, okay. I'd forgotten about that. I'm already forgetting my Awakened weapons. Soon Monster Hunter will turn into Devil May Cry. It's going that way, that's my complaint. It's becoming... The complexities are disappearing and it's becoming more generic, unfortunately, so... Yeah, that's right. It's obviously kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing to say, that Monster Hunter is becoming Devil May Cry, but in a sense, yes. In a sense it is. And maybe one day it will become that. Who knows? maybe the only thing that will separate it from other games is something small, you know, rather than it being a drastically different take on an RPG. It will instead just be, you know, pretty normal, but you're hunting monsters instead, which is probably covered by games like, I think God Eater does that. I don't know. God Eater's kind of similar in a weird way to Monster Hunter. I remember when the first one came out, people were sort of relating it to Monster Hunter. You know, people have always been very eager to compare games to Monster Hunter. Very eager. Oh, N10's using another event weapon. That's one that I don't plan to get, actually. I think that one's from the Brachydios event. Yeah, no plans to get that one. But yeah, when the first God Eater came out, there were people in the Monster Hunter community who were taking interest in it because they decided that it was kind of similar to Monster Hunter, but I didn't really see it at the time. I think you can say anything similar to Monster Hunter just on the basis that it's a RPG, because Monster Hunter has RPG elements. If not, in fact, it's a bona fide RPG with maybe a different take on it. So, yeah, I think you have to be careful with what you say is Monster Hunter-esque, because, of course, all RPGs will have certain things in common, so it's unfair to say that something similar to Monster Hunter, when Monster Hunter, at least traditionally speaking, had such a unique take on the RPG system, or on the RPG style of games. Yeah, Dauntless, well, that's the example that I was complaining about last recordings, the fact that people wanted to relate Dauntless to Monster Hunter. Again, can't speak for the beta, maybe it was more similar to Monster Hunter than it is now, but speaking for now, because that's when I was forced to play it by my friend Ethan, basically forced. He didn't tell me what it was going to be until... The only reason why I was told what it was going to be before I actually got the Epic Games launcher on my computer was me saying to him, I promise you that I will agree to play it with you, just tell me what it is. Because he said, I'm not going to tell you what it is because you won't play it. And I said, look, I'm going to promise you that I'll play it with you, so just tell me what it is. And then he told me it was Dauntless. Point is that, yeah, Dauntless is not like Monster Hunter, sorry. It's a generic MMORPG at the moment. So, anyone still comparing it needs to either get a grip or update themselves on what's happening with the game now. Because, you know, that's like saying... I don't know. It's like saying anything is similar to Skyrim. Like, I swear to you there were people drawing comparisons between the first Dark Souls and Skyrim at the time. I swear to you, hand on heart, people were making comparisons, and the reason why was because they came out around the same time. The only thing that was similar about them was that they were two games with RPG elements. Outside of that, totally different. Totally different. My point being that people are just very eager to make comparisons with something popular, or at the very least, something that is prevalent in their mind. Skyrim was prevalent in the minds of all people who played video games when it released. And so when I was talking about, you know, I think I said something like, Skyrim is great, but there are better games out there. Someone's like, oh yeah, okay, like what? And I said, Dark Souls. And then I think the person looked and it's like, oh, this is a lot like Skyrim, it's copying Skyrim or some crap like that. You know, that was the sort of low-level conversation I was having that led to that quote that I've just mentioned. But, or paraphrased. But the point is that, yeah, games will have certain similarities within a genre, a large encompassing genre, but we can't therefore say it's like it's automatically similar to that. Souls, on the other hand, that was a very, very unique take on RPGs. In fact, it was a unique take on JRPGs in general. JRPGs have often been very simplistic. When they became 3D, that is to say. The Soul series was a return to the old style of RPGs in 3D. Not through and through, but at the very least in the sense that combat was very slow and deliberate and all that. So, in that way it was quite unique, and then that became Souls-like. By the time Dark Souls 2 had come out, Souls-like was a thing. So, yeah. Is the Ludroth big? No, I wouldn't say so. Maximum Silver Crown, large, but maybe not even that. We'll see. It's a bit dark. Should I touch my room light, or should I let the old natural lighting do its thing. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't trust it. And get the room light going. Oh. Yeah, and you wouldn't... On no level can you compare Dauntless to Monster Hunter. That's the thing, on no level. On no level, because if you do start comparing those two, you can start comparing any game that just happens to be in a similar sort of genre. I mean, RPG in general, especially now, not so much 15 years ago, but now, there is a huge difference between certain interpretations of the RPG format. Really, really drastically different games. It's like comparing Monster Hunter to Souls. Yes, I would say that a person who enjoys Monster Hunter can enjoy Souls and vice versa, but they are very different expressions of what would fall under the umbrella of RPG. Matt wants to do key quests, so now N10 is going to post them because he knows what they are. I feel like I took something out of that rewards box that I didn't mean to. Yeah, it was a slog bone. I had a feeling in my waters that I had done such a thing. And it's getting a little bright outside again. It's not too bad though. At least not yet. I've just been guessing, says Matt. Well shit, it helps to look online, man. It definitely helps. Oh, Kurapeko is a key quest. I suppose that would make sense. I forgot to actually check the size of that purple Udroth. I don't know if you saw it. Matt is hunter rank 6, so yeah, he's going through tier 1 G rank at the moment. Well, was purple Ludroth one? I think it is. Yeah, Ludroth was normal size, not even silver. That's what I was thinking. Didn't look like a large one to me. For Kurapeko, I would use... I think water's good on Kurapeko, isn't it? I think so. Oh, Kendragon. Kendragon? Is that who I think it is? Kendragon. No, it's not who I think it is. It's a recognizable name, but it's because we've hunted him before. He's the one that Vernon kicked in the past. It's actually not what I had in my head. I was thinking of someone else. I was thinking of, I think, Kenta from Freedom Unite, who does, like, Freedom Unite speedruns on Hunsterverse. No. But yes, he is the person that Vernon kicked, so... What's his hunter rank now? No. 91? 91. That can't be right. 91? He's already hunter rank 91? It wasn't even a month ago when we were kicking this guy from the room because he was like hunter rank 7 or something. 91? Hello? I think he's hunter rank 91. I don't think that's 61. I'm not dumb. I mean, the reason why I'm not 100% sure is because my gamepad's kind of far away, so I have to sort of try to figure out what it says, but it looks like 91 to me, which is a bit crazy. I think it is Takashi. That sounds about right to me. I can't remember it clearly, but yeah. That's the sort of shit. That's the sort of shit we're dealing with. Also, Doomlink's Live Hunts featuring Matt from Wii Sports. Yeah. Definitely featuring. What am I doing? I'm checking the fucking weakness of Kurapeko like an actual idiot. Enjoy. This is the sort of entertainment you can expect. Kurapeko, ice is better than water, so that's what I was thinking. The reason why I wasn't sure about ice was because I knew that was going to be the weakness for Crimson, so I thought, oh, it couldn't be the same for regular Kurapeko. It is, so maybe Ice Awaken? Whatever that might be. Ice Awaken? Do I have any? Ice Awaken. Here we go, Typhoon. Typhoon. Beautiful. I love these dual blades, actually. Any excuse to use them is good, because they are very attractive looking. And they're better as elemental weapons. They're not very exciting as raw weapons, they're not very high damage or anything like that. But as elemental weapons by way of Awaken, certainly worthwhile. Okay, right, so he would have been using a Fire Longsword on Gold Raytheon. That makes more sense. Kendragon, let's have a look. Hunter rank 91, I believe. 90 fucking 1. He's been... Oh, shh. You know what he's been doing? He's been doing 4-point formation. This guy's been doing 4-point formation. I'm going to call him out. It's a bit nasty, but shit. The guy hasn't even gotten a proper armor set yet, and he's hunter rank 91 in 3 Ultimate. I mean, some of you might be like, oh, 91, it's not too high of a hunter rank. It is in this game. He says sure. I wasn't asking if you wanted to do it. Oh, good God. I said, been doing 4-point formation, Kendragon? And he says, sure. My answer is, I wasn't asking if you wanted to do it. Unless he's saying sure as like a sarcastic remark. Is he leaving because I said that? What's he doing? Maybe I shouldn't have opened my mouth. I just don't trust a person who, in the space of like 3 weeks, we'll say, maybe it's been a month. Has it been a month? In the space of a month, who goes from hunter rank 6 or 7 to, oh, maybe he was 30 something. Well, let's say hunter rank 30 something to hunter rank 90 something, and he still doesn't have a decent armor set. Like, come on. He's been doing 4-point formation with that that guy who always wants to do 4-point formation. Can't remember his name now, but every time you join his room, he has 4-point formation on the board. I'd guarantee it. He's been doing that quest. There's no point. Get a damn set. I remember when the first Dragon Age came out, Cereal Beans, I wanted to play it because I wanted to experience a modern RPG. Modern 3D graphics. Like when Dragon Age came out, it was, for consoles at least, sort of the new frontier of modern graphics. You know, I was excited for it, but I never actually played it in the end. But, yeah. Never, and it's not very good. And hasn't aged very well, I don't think, but at the time it was pretty fun. The first one was really good, okay. Okay, well, I guess I'll go and play the first one. Might be a good idea to go and play that, because then I can experience what I could have experienced back then but didn't end up experiencing, and I'll actually be able to enjoy myself as well, which is good. I mean, what you guys don't realise is that I have a game lined up, which is Sonic 06 on Xbox 360. I will be doing a live stream playthrough of that, so that'll give you an idea of what sort of shit is on the cards. So that's going to be good fun. I've never played it before. If you wanted to watch a live, blind playthrough of that fucking game with Doomlink, you'll be getting it. You'll be getting it. You're willingly playing Sonic 06. If I willingly bought it, I'm willingly gonna play it. And I bought it alright. For like 30 Australian dollars, which is more than it's worth. Like, that game is not worth the disc it's sitting on. It's just, like, I've seen a little bit of it from the past. I wasn't familiar with it when it came out, but yeah, it's over time I think I became aware of it. Partially because maybe I was familiar with them. The only thing from that general era that I remember was Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, because it was being advertised on Australian TV and I was sitting there going, What dick is buying this game? I very clearly remember seeing that on television and going, why? Why? But aside from that, no, I don't think I was familiar with Sonic 06 at the time. But anyway, I eventually became familiar with its existence and realised that it was god-awful, and I think it would be entertaining to play it, so... Oh, that's, N10's talking about the guy that I was referring to who is always hosting a room with 4-point formation. And that's what he's talking about. I'm in for something? Well, I'm excited. Hello, Shatsy. Peanut Shatsy. Are you Schattenstolz? Or are you someone else entirely? There was someone who was watching me in the past named Schattenstolz, but he disappeared into the ether, like many of my viewers do. It is the ways of Twitch, you see. Or maybe he's always been here, but he's just a lurker now. You know, that happens sometimes. I would like to be informed if you're going to suddenly lurk for 5 months. Anyway. So, Handicraft +4 with 2 slots is not too bad for this game, so I'm going to take it. Well, I will take it. Current res 9, well, no. Current res, by the way, is not something... Well, I'll tell you what it is, because people might not know what the hell it's referring to, because they're not familiar with Tryon 3 Ultimate, but it's basically wind press, but for underwater. In other words, current resistance. So being affected by, you know, a tail swing from a Plesioth underwater, but you didn't get hit by it, but your character's like, ugh, that's current. As opposed to wind, and there's a resistance for it, much like there is resistance for wind. So there you go. You're just Peanut. So we've got 2 Peanuts and 2 people with Shuts in their name, which is good. Well, maybe 1, because Schattenstolz, as I said, has disappeared. If you insist, Autonomic, but thanks for letting me know. How the hunt's going? Well, pretty good. And good to see you, Marths. We've had a good team from the start. Well, good enough. Good because N10's been here. In other words, things have been going well. I could easily stick with these weapons here, but I would like to change to something else, I think. I'm so happy to be drinking gin. I'm an excited boy, you know, I'm like, ooh. Ooh. I just had this moment where I was like, I'm so happy I'm drinking gin, because I don't know, when I've been drinking whiskey for a little while, I get so sick of it, and I just need some gin or some, you know, even brandy will do me. For me, sometimes if I would rather drink brandy, I'd rather drink whiskey, you know, but I like a bit of brandy. The problem with brandy is that you need to spend a lot to get good brandy, I feel. Otherwise, it's just not very... It's not really worth your while, but... A nice brandy is good fun. Doom Gin is a good idea for a new emote. Just a giddy man with his spirits, yeah. Indeed. Well, I'm having my moments of giddiness. So, again, Ice Element is probably what I want to go with here, but I'll need to choose a weapon type. How about Hammer? Ice Hammer. Wow. In fact, no, I do have an Awaken Hammer set. I was about to say something really dumb. It was, I don't have an Awaken Hammer set yet. I've always had an Awaken Hammer set, and it's because of this weapon. This weapon is a very good weapon. Probably the best hammer in the game for damage if you're using Awaken. It's very, very heavy raw damage. It's got purple sharpness and 400 slime. It's a broken thing. And I made a set for that, but guess what? If you're an Awaken buff like I am, you can get use out of this set outside of using the Grongigas Hammer, provided you're not desperate to play the meta game. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the Onslaught, which is ice damage. The goddamn Grongigas. Well, I think you can say Grongigas. Some people probably say Grongigas. I say Grongigas. Just... yeah. Sounds less American, I guess. I don't know. Looks like an Uragan testicle on a stick. Well, it would take a special kind of person to look at what is clearly an Uragan chin and go, oh, that's an Uragan testicle. It takes a special kind of person, Beta. Just think about that for a moment. And speaking of Uragan weapons, actually, N10 is whipping out Goliath's Scream. Now, I haven't used that greatsword since Try, and I only used it in Try for fun. I kind of liked the design of it, and you'd never see it online. It was one of those weapons in Try, and keeping in mind there weren't that many weapons in Try compared to other Monster Hunter games, but that weapon you just never saw online. And so I used to use it just so that I could have something a little different. At least when I wasn't taking the hunt seriously. Of course, if I was taking the hunt seriously, no way. But I believe that's Fire Awaken. I think that's another Fire Awaken greatsword. At least it was in Try. So I should probably make that in this game too. Still haven't gotten around to it. It's horrendous in this game. Well, you're saying... the implication there is that it was good in Try, which it wasn't, I don't think. Maybe it was alright for high rank, but yeah. I don't know. Look, the raw damage isn't too bad, N10. You have to realise that that's sitting pretty close to Serra Symmetry, but I would imagine that that's probably got some worse negative affinity, and probably shit sharpness. That's probably what it is. It's the shit sharpness, isn't it? That probably makes it so bad. But, yeah. Just use it anyway. It's good fun. Oh. What's Matt doing? Playing Wii Sports, probably. Oh, he's in Wii Sports. He's on in 10 minutes. I don't even know who Matt from Wii Sports is, let me tell you that. So I don't know if he's a character or if he's a... Point is that, you know, maybe he's got a gig in Wii Sports and we're holding him up. Oh, Matt is from Wii U, or rather Wii Boxing, is he? You know, there's this weird habit that I'm in now, that whenever I say Wii, I automatically say Wii U, because usually when I'm referring to the Wii, I'm referring to the Wii U, but then when I'm referring to the regular Wii, I sometimes slip in U when I'm saying that, and it's weird. Just because those are counterparts now in my mind. Wii and U. Wii and U. Really funny. Thanks, Nintendo. Maybe it was your shit naming scheme that resulted in the failure of the console. Ever thought about that? And you know, they really did mess up with the Wii U's advertising. So many people thought it was just the handheld thing. They didn't really advertise the Wii U properly as a console. It looked like a weird handheld. Because, and it is true that when the Wii U first came out, we all thought that it was just the gamepad, because that's all we ever saw. You didn't even see the damn system, most of the time. So, yeah, for a little while, it wasn't for long, but for a little while I did actually think it was just the gamepad. And lots of people probably still think it's just the gamepad. The people who never touched it probably think it's just the gamepad. It's no wonder no one wants a damn Wii U. But there is actually a console, I'll have you know. Oh, Matt in Wii Sports was a really good NPC in boxing, it seemed. A Soul Crusher NPC. Well, if you found Wii Sports to be in any way soul-crushing, then you might have taken it a little too seriously, but I will admit that Wii Sports was a good time. When the Wii came out, oh my god, everyone was playing Wii Sports, at least in Australia. It was a cultural phenomenon over here. And I would say it was in the US too. I mean, Wii Sports and the Wii's release was a big deal. And everyone who wanted their RPG experience was playing Twilight Princess. Oh well, Twilight Princess. Meanwhile, I was playing it on the bloody GameCube and getting a real gaming experience. Imagine that. But, yeah, my friend had a Wii on launch. Went over to his house and we were on Wii Sports like you wouldn't believe. We were playing that game. And it was good. I liked golf, can you imagine that? I mean, shows you how weird of a kid I was. I was into golf, you know, yeah, Wii Golf. That was my thing. But, I enjoyed the baseball one. Bowling was fun. But, yeah, I think it was golf that I enjoyed. Boxing I didn't give a shit about. I actually forgot that there was boxing, to be honest with you. Tennis was fun. I think the tennis was in the original Wii Sports, right? I think so. Because I think there was like an additional Wii Tennis release, wasn't there? Sorry, Matt. Okay, I didn't hit you. Good. Yeah, I think there was like a Wii Tennis release or something. Oh, I never got it, but that's the funny thing. I don't think any of the Wii Sports style games did well, but Wii Sports itself did very well. Of course, it was a launch title. You would expect that it would do well. I mean, I don't think there would be sales numbers for Wii Sports because it was included with the console, but the point is that in terms of popularity, my god, it was the best launch title of any console. I would guarantee it, because it was just good fun. It was good, clean fun. And fun for the whole family too. Grandma's got the fucking Wii remote and throwing it in the TV and all that business. That's the reason why they had to... I mean, for those who remember, the Wii did not release with the jackets on the Wii itself, like the Wii remotes. I don't even think they had the strap, did they? They might have had the strap on the wrist, but they didn't have the jackets on the Wii remotes themselves. It was added later because people were throwing the fucking things into the TV and like breaking the TV and doing all sorts of things, so they had to actually release those. If you could hear that, that was the sound of my phone going off. Just going to respond to this text. If you're wondering what the hoo-hoo is about, I use a Xiaomi phone, so it goes hoo-hoo. At least it's not that stupid tweeting thing. You know, the famous annoying bird ringtone or notification sound. It's better than that, but it's not that much better. At least it's not that, that's the point. Yeah, responding to this text, Uno Memento. Boodoo. I do like the Xiaomi sound effects. Oh god, he's a supporter of China. He's got a Xiaomi phone. Chinese supporter. Oh. Yeah, that's me. I love China, I just can't get enough of them. You can tell I'm obsessed. Well, some people did play Tri on a Wii remote. Think about it, if people were playing Twilight Princess on a fucking Wii remote, you better believe that 4 years later people were playing Tri with a Wii remote, my god. It is very sad, but the thing is, the only reason why it was releasing on the Wii was no doubt because that was just Nintendo's console. But Capcom was like, you know, we can't allow for this. We can't allow for motion controls to become the next thing for Monster Hunter. So what did they do? They actually released Tri with a bundle that included the classic Controller Pro. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? It's not meant to be played with motion controls, but it has to support it because it's on a motion control console. So, yeah. I don't think Capcom ever wanted people to use motion controls, but people probably still did it, and as a result had an inferior experience to those who actually used a damn controller. I probably should go to this trap, shouldn't I? It's a bit overkill, isn't it? I think Matt's fighting the... Yeah, Matt is fighting the Great Jaggy. He might have killed the other one, too. I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy responding to texts and, you know, supporting the Chinese Communist Party and all sorts of things. So... Yeah, Monster Hunter G was also on the Wii, you're right. We were just talking about it last recording, actually. Or maybe the recording before. I think it was last recording. Someone was saying that it was so updated that it played more like a second-gen game than a first-gen game. Which is probably a good thing, honestly, but... yeah. Is the GameCube controller really great? It was great for the time. I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it, it's unique, and they hold up well. GameCube controllers last. They're not very heavy, but can show you. Oh. This is a PowerWave Accessories GameCube controller. Ugh. It's backwards, as you can tell, because my webcam view is backwards. But, yeah. That's sitting there because I was recently playing Wind Waker. Well, not just recently playing Wind Waker, it's actually sitting there because it's plugged into my PAL GameCube because I am doing a Let's Play of the Minish Cap on the GameCube Game Boy player. So that's why my GameCube controller is sitting there rather than being away. But yeah, it's a nice controller. And I absolutely love it for the games that really use it, which is basically any GameCube game. You know, where you have the heads-up display and you've got all the buttons in the shape of the A, Y, and X buttons and B for the GameCube controller. It's nice and unique and fun, but as far as how it has aged, probably not all that well. I'd say a modern controller is likely better. Really? The Smash community prefers it to any other controller, practically? Well, I can't really speak to that, because I don't play Smash Brothers, so... yeah. For Smash specifically, might be very good. And maybe there are benefits to it that you don't see with modern controllers, I don't know. I don't pick up on any of them. But this is the thing, I don't necessarily pick up on things that are better than modern controllers, but I don't pick up on many things that are worse, except for maybe the fact that they have the grooves around the analog sticks that causes them to make a lot of noise when you rotate them, which can be good because it becomes a lot more directional. You know, your analog stick becomes more directional when they have grooves at varying degrees of rotation, but it can also be awkward, and that was also carried over onto the Wii. Hear the grooves? Same as the GameCube controller. So it was carried over to the Wii on both the Nunchuck and the Classic controller, and by extension the Classic Controller Pro. So yeah, it obviously was done for a reason. It's just so that you can be a little more directional with your analog stick, which might be a good thing or it might be a bad thing. May very well depend on the game for the most part, but yeah, I don't know. What is our next hunt? Avenge the Fallen Hunter. We're doing all sorts of weird quests at the moment, like Baroth and Kurapeko, which is always good fun, I guess. I do like those monsters. What should I use? Fire Awaken? Am I sticking with Awaken? Yeah. It's my Fire Awaken Sword and Shield. I think it's also Sand Barioth, isn't it? Is it? Let's find out. Ceravento, yeah it is. Okay. Oh wait, I've got my hammer set, excuse me. Let's change that. Maybe we won't use our hammer set. You know what, I just realised that I was not actually using my hammer. That entire hunt, I was playing totally subconsciously with the hammer, so I've got no idea if I was using my hammer like an actual idiot, or if I was doing well with it. I know for certain I wasn't aiming for any heads, so yeah, if I was using that hammer really strangely, forgive me, because I paid zero attention to that entire hunt, I just realised. Like, there wasn't a moment where I sort of slipped out of subconscious play and into conscious play. I was subconsciously playing the entire hunt. So, and I didn't consciously think that I was using a hammer, so I've got no idea what you ended up seeing there. It might have been good, might have been awful, but yeah. Just so you know, that's how my subconscious plays, which might be good and it might be bad. In other words, that's pure muscle memory, whatever I was doing there. So, don't know. Might be a good thing. Because in the previous recording, I was actually playing better against Super Stygian subconsciously than consciously, so I think my muscle memory is actually better, and which actually makes sense because it's usually my conscious mind that causes me to play worse. Whereas my instincts, in other words, my instincts are usually better than whatever I'm thinking of doing at any given time. Again, can't make use of sharpness +1 on this set because this weapon doesn't support it. That's alright. off we go. Blow the hunter horn. Didn't want to say hunting horn, because then someone's going to be like, huh? Hunting horn? What do you mean, Doomlink? It's the hunter's horn, you know, the horn of combat. Maybe it's the horn for the boat. You know, they blow a horn when they depart and things like that. Hello, Baroth. How are you going? Got some shooting stars in the distance behind you there. Are you really doing this right now? Twice you've gone and disappeared into the mud like that. It's a bit ridiculous. I mean, doing it once is a bit silly, because I was right in front of you, but twice? I think you need to get a grip, Mr. Baroth man. This is the thing with this weapon. The reason why it might be good as a raw weapon is because it can actually achieve purple sharpness without sharpness +1. So that's the way this is balanced, and as a result you can't actually get the benefits of sharpness +1 here. Pretty much every single weapon that can get purple sharpness innately without sharpness +1 will not receive the benefits of sharpness +1. So that's how that works. Oh, autonomic, you are so silly. I haven't the patience for you right now. Asking such silly questions. Looks like Kendragon is in no rush to get here to the hunt. Imagine leeching on a Baroth. He might be afraid of Baroth, it's possible. You never know these things. I'm going to shield that. I had a distinct feeling that I was going to get caught in his hitbox, and as a result I shielded. Now, that wasn't necessarily correct, because in that time I could have just walked backwards out of the way, but my suspicion resulted in my action, and I don't necessarily regret it. How about that? Kendragon is actually leeching, oh my god. Not really, I don't really accuse people of leeching. There was a guy who was actually leeching our hunts in a Generations Ultimate recording somewhat recently, like 2 weeks ago. There was a guy, and I don't accuse people of leeching because I don't believe the community does that. It's not something that I would even think of, but after 2 or 3 hunts with this Mizutsune that included this guy, I started to catch on to the fact that he wasn't actually hunting the monster, but he was still there, like he was still in-game, he wasn't AFK. I was like, this guy's fucking leeching, so I just abandoned and left the room, I think. Or kicked him or something. I think it was my room, and I left the hunt and kicked the bastard because he was leeching. I mean, I don't often come across leechers, but they do seem to exist. And shockingly, in that community. It was just weird. Yeah, he was moving, that was the thing, Vernon. Like, he was in the hunt with us, but he was moving. That's how you can really tell that a person's a leecher. Like, they're not just going AFK. Because if they're going AFK, you can give them the benefit of the doubt. You can think, well, okay, well maybe they're being taken away from the game, you know. Either something's come up or they're getting a call, you know, something like that. You give people the benefit of the doubt. But this guy was walking around, but with no clear intention of joining the hunt. So, and he did it for the whole previous quest at that time. He had done it maybe even 2 quests prior. Never really joining until the end of the hunt. So, yeah, I just left. Or, I don't think I left again, I think I kicked him, so it must have been with Vernon as well, because he seems to remember. But, yeah, fuck that guy. No time for leeches. So, in the case of Kendragon, he might not be leeching, in fact, he probably isn't, he's probably just AFK for one reason or another. Which is not necessarily leeching. You could say that it is effectively leeching, but it's all about the intention at the end of the day. Well, Matt is here with some mud blight and being attacked by both myself and N10. Peanut Shatsy remembers somehow. Yeah, so you've been lurking for a while, have you? Unless you are Schattenstolz and you're just tricking me. Ugh. I'm tempted to aim for that tail, but I don't often bother cutting Barroth tails, and I think most of you will admit that it's rare to see a Barroth tail get cut. Most people don't bother. It's almost just slightly out of reach, and it's just a bit awkward to aim for. So I just don't have the time usually. Or I don't have the willingness. Or the will. How about that? That'd be better. How about that? Oh, that's good to know, Shatsi. Well, never feel shy to talk. As I've said time and time again, as you would know, being a lurker, since you've been around. I always like it when people make themselves known. They don't necessarily have to talk the whole stream. I just like to know the people who are watching me. I like to know them by name and I like to say hello to them. So, you know. You can just say hi once and never talk again. That's all I ask. I don't ask for much in this world. I just like to know the people who watch me. Because you don't get anything out of a silent viewer. You don't get anything. Because you don't even know them. At least when you've got a name attached to the person and, like, you know, at least enough humanity to speak, you can attach something to the viewer. But if you're just a number in a viewer count, you're beyond invisible to me. You're nothing. You're not even an individual anymore. So, you know, I'd like to have a viewership. To me, numbers are not a viewership. A viewership to me is a group of people that I know by name, that I grow to know and understand. That's a viewership to me. So, well, thank you, Peanut. But yeah, that's a viewership to me. For some people, a viewership is a number, and it's not to me. I don't stream for numbers of viewers. I stream for people to chat with. That's what I do. Yeah, Shatin Stoltz is he joined in the same group that, well, he was part of the same raid that Takashi was involved in, but Takashi stuck around, whereas Shatin Stoltz has been a little flaky, and I think he's actually fucked off now, but regardless, he named himself after, I think is it the Gormagala Greatsword? Something like that. Oh, you've actually been playing 3 Ultimate and you've happened to play with Vernon and I. Yeah, if you could tell us your character name, I'm sure we would remember you, because there aren't too many people playing in this game, so... Vernon's just asking because he wants to know if he's been shit-talking. But admittedly, I could always be guilty of the same thing. Papoyo? Actually, I don't remember that name. Vernon's better with that than I am. Also admitted. Yeah, we'll take this up here, and then sell the rest. Appraise these. Oh, Tranquilizer 1. Yeah, no, I'm joking. I'd like to cancel that, thank you. It was a joke. Well, we might have hunted with Papoyo once ever, and so it hasn't stuck in our minds. Usually, it's twice or 3 times that will get the name to stick in your mind, but if you've only seen the person once, it's like, generally you wouldn't remember. Alright. So continuing with key quests, I suppose. Yeah, when I was raided by that person, I was in the middle of ranting about a guy who was lance charging in Hunsterverse. God, that fucking guy pissed me off. And it was funny, I was talking about it recently in Hunsterverse and someone was like, yeah, that player fucking sucks. Like someone in the chat was like, yeah, I know that guy and he sucks, he's terrible. He died 3 times to my quest or something like that, you know. So, he's gotten around. He's developed a bit of a reputation for himself. Ken Dragon has left. Well, okay, Ken Dragon. Well, admittedly, I guess I wasn't the friendliest to Mr. Ken Dragon, but you know, I just don't like seeing people who who have just broken their hunter rank cap, and then 4 weeks later, there's almost no progress on their armor set, but now they're hunter rank 90 something, you know? Like, come on. Forget your hunter rank, work on your damn armor sets, please. Anyway. Let me know what the next hunt is, and Ten and I will get ready for it. Nibble snuff? Rightio. Probably move on to something non-awakened now. About Ice Lance. What is my Ice Lance? Can't remember now. Sometimes I just don't remember. Which is good, it means it's more fun that way. I only recently made this, you know. Only recently, and I love the colours. I talk about it every time, but the colours are just lovely on this lance. For some reason, I just didn't have an Ice Lance for the longest time, and I don't know why. It was just one of those weapons that I didn't make. Excuse me. Goodness me. It's the closest thing to a belt I think I've ever had on camera. I was like, oh god, something needed to come out there. Bloody hell. So we might wait just a little bit for a 4th player, but not for very long. Probably not even 2 minutes. I'd just like to possibly be here for a person to join, because, you know, when a person joins during the hunt, they'll have to sit there and wait a little while, so I'd like to possibly get them before they end up waiting. I think I showed you that in the past, Vernon, but I will show you. It's a large number, not like a super large number, but it's not 2. We'll put it that way. Laggy stuff. I think it's here, isn't it? Yeah. Ivory laggy. Da 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 da. 27. Ivory laggy hardhorns. I don't even have 2, yeah. I don't know how I have 27, actually. That's something I couldn't really say. But I've been lucky enough to get this many, so... How many ivory have I hunted? Oh, this is the... Here we go! And I'm sure capture... Well, this is the thing. You'd have to work out... Hold on, ivory laggy. Now here's the thing, you would have to work out capture rates versus kill rates to work out if this is appropriate versus the number of hardhorns I've used. And one thing that I've also not completely determined is just how many ivory hardhorns I would have used, because most of what I've made I think started out as abyssal weapons that I would have made outright. And I don't actually know how many abyssal weapons upgrade from regular laggy stuff, and if that requires ivory horns. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure that Vernon doesn't intend to make any ivory weapons, but he still needs ivory horns. So I've got no idea how many I've made. I've got no idea what the drop rates are for capture versus kill, but yeah. Oh, you're making the... That's right, I seem to remember you mentioning the ivory bow. Right. So I guess the abyssal bow is a pierce thunderbow. Now, if you do hear a low frequency rumble, it is a garbage truck in the street. It is not Wednesday, however, it is garbage cleanup. So, yeah. Well, a different sort of garbage cleanup. This is the, you know, general household items that you don't want anymore cleanup, which happens like once every few months or something like that. But, yeah. It's kind of far away, so I don't think you'll hear it. What are we hunting again? I hate it when I forget. It's so dumb. Nibblesnarf, that's right. I remember now. Yeah, Potato has been incredibly unlucky with his ivory hard horns. Incredibly lucky. Excuse me, incredibly unlucky. The opposite of incredibly lucky, basically. So, it's just one of those things. I mean, it is rather superstitious, the desire sensor, but it does make you wonder if there's some kind of algorithm that determines, oh, he wants this and he needs this in his weapons that he's forging, so let's just not give it to him. Makes you wonder. Because it's true, I mean, his luck has been just horrendous with ivory horns. Just horrendous. Yeah, for sure. Chance, you're welcome to. Just join the room. It should be one of a very small number, and there's an open spot. So, jump on in. Nothing wrong with that. Alright, the garbage truck's a little closer now, but it's probably not too invasive. I don't think I'm going to... Oh, looks like N10's going to fish it out. And I'm quite sure that us attacking the Nibblesnarf does not actually affect his fishing. So it's better to attack than just sit there and wait. It's better for DPS. And overall damage. Sand Barrioth has made an appearance, very awkwardly. I don't really want to deal with him right now. Oh, I'll just let you do... Oh, that's really funny. I would guarantee that Nibblesnarf was put into this position purely through the attack of the Sand Barrioth. You know, that whatever damage threshold that is, I don't know if it's a damage threshold or if damage needs to be dealt in a specific part of the body to get him into a position where he can be fished out. But that was dealt most certainly by Sand Barrioth. Chat display on, please. Papoyo visited the port. And that is a KO, which you actually don't see too often with this monster. He's just sort of sitting there, you know. Oh, N10's going for it. Oh, that's so funny. We both saw each other sheath our weapons, and we both decided, oh, we'll leave it to that person. We'll leave it to the other guy. Oh, well. That's the problem when everyone knows that... When everyone knows that you can fish in that moment, it's a matter of who's going to do it. Who's actually going to take the time to do it. It's kind of funny. You don't hear anything. Oh, it's a low frequency rumble that sometimes is audible, sometimes isn't, but... Yeah. Oh, God, Matt. Stop with the suicide bombing. It's a terrible idea. If you're going to drop a bomb, you have to do it away from where people are attacking, otherwise it just doesn't work. Understand why you... the reason why he's placing the bomb is because it can be used as something for Nibblesnarf to swallow. I'm going to do the fishing this time, and I'm not going to stop. Okay. I actually got awkwardly flinched there. By Matt. Fuck off, man. I get that I'm using a lance, but leave me alone. Which is to say, I get that everything flinches me as a lance user, but bloody hell. That was a bit nasty. So right now there is... Oh, God. My chroma key is bad. Has it always been this bad? Couldn't have been. Hope not. Fucking hope not. I hope it wasn't always that bad and I just hadn't noticed it. That'd be pretty awful. It's not cutting into my head, is it? I hope not. because I hate it when that happens. Anyway. But yeah, there's negative 30 dB of low frequency hum, so... Doesn't matter. Yes, it's true, Vernon, but some people just mindlessly hit the monster that they're trying to hit, and they don't really care for the teammate. I mean, you would think that common sense would dictate that you reposition yourself or change what you're doing if you're messing up the teammates, but some people actually don't have eyes for what is happening to the team. It's all about the monster. They have a one-track mind, and it's deeply focused to what is happening with the monster. So they could completely fuck up a teammate and not even notice. It's incredible. But that's just what it is. Have a great night, guys. Well, see you, Matt. Helped out Matt, and I didn't even get to say see ya before he left. But yeah, you have a great night too, Matt. It's not night for me though, it's 2 in the afternoon. Yeah, for sure. What hunter rank have we got? 64. Yeah, post away. Post away. Oh, unfortunately, just as we got a 4th hunter, we lost another one, so now we're a group of 3 again. Yeah, I threw the lure completely. It was actually a hook rather than a lure. I guess a lure would be something that's specifically designed to attract the fish or whatever you're trying to fish out, but yeah, it was just a hook. But it was totally thrown away from the monster. That's Monster Hunter for you. Alright, well, if you... Anton, I will leave the quest posting to you. Just post whatever you think might be fun or interesting. It is true, actually, that Vernon might have hunted with you outside of hunts with me, because he did play a lot in his own time, so... Oh, you want to see Goldbeard? Well, we could do that, yeah. Let's do Goldbeard for this one. You remember hunting a Devil Joe with Lordzor? Well, there you go. That... If Vernon's remembering hunting a Devil Joe with you, and you remember hunting a Devil Joe with me, we were probably there together, and Vernon's probably... You and Vernon are probably remembering the same thing, and I was probably too busy crapping on about something at the time and wasn't paying attention to who I was hunting with, or anything of that nature, so... That's probably what happened there. I will, for a change, actually use a Blade Master weapon against this monster, and I think Dragon is the ideal choice for element. But I will actually check for elemental weaknesses of Goldbeard via the armor. And I think it is going to be Dragon, yes. And the secondary is actually Thunder, interestingly. I used to just assume that Fire would be the secondary, so I used to use Fire against him. But, yeah, it is not the secondary at all. It may not even be the tertiary, I haven't got a clue. I just know that when I checked the weaknesses, Fire was barely effective at all. Is that right? Well, Vernon, I just recall that whenever we would hunt, I would see people that I didn't necessarily recognize, but you recognized them and you said, oh, I've hunted with that guy, oh, I've hunted with that guy. So it sort of gave me the impression that you had hunted at least a reasonable amount without me. Maybe not at G rank level, but prior to G rank I think you would have hunted with a number of people. People that I didn't necessarily recognize. In other words, people that were frequently hunting in the community at that time that I weren't familiar with. But you were, because you were hunting on your own. That's what I mean. Right. There was only one time I played online without you, and that was to get myself boosted from low rank to G rank. Well, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was imagining in my mind. So... yeah. That's about right. Well, at least N10's doing damage. I'm going to be... well, to be completely honest, I think I'll be doing plenty of damage with... not the... what are you doing, Doomlink? What the fuck? Altios Gloralis is what you want. And that's going to be good damage, but a pierce gun is always better. We'll see what we can do. Throne of the Abyss. And I'd actually forgotten that it was just called the Ruins. Excuse the bird. Yeah, okay. Fucking birds. Fucking birds? That's a reference. But, yeah. Sometimes birds just interrupt my recordings. It's the way of the world, really. At least it's the way of Australia, because we've got a lot of noisy damn fauna. They like to make an appearance sonically in my recordings. Alright. We've given a potential fourth quite a lot of time to join the room, so let's just depart. I did eat, didn't I? I think I did. Yeah, I did, that's right. I literally just ate, and I'm sitting here like, did I eat? That's what happens when you do things totally subconsciously. I mean, eating for me has become something totally subconscious. So there was a period of time where I kept on forgetting to eat because for some reason, something in my subconscious mind, I must have been distracted or something. And as a result, I just kept on departing without eating. And obviously the question becomes, how could you at this point in your monster-hunting career, Doomlink, forget to eat so often? The answer is that I never remember whether or not I've eaten. I just do it. And I don't worry about it, because I know that subconsciously I'm going to do it anyway. But there was this period of time where I just kept on forgetting in my subconscious mind to do it. And so I would join the quest and I'm like, why haven't I eaten? And I was sort of annoyed at myself, disappointed in my own inabilities, and you know. And then I spiraled out of control, needed counselling, and eventually sorted myself out. No. But it's a funny joke. No, maybe it's not a funny joke. But point is that, no, that is not what happened, but apparently just intending on not continuously forgetting to eat was enough to tell my subconscious, okay, this is actually important, get your act together. And so now I'm pretty good about that. Again, as I always was, but for some reason for a period of about a week or two I was struggling with. It's very weird, isn't it, the subconscious? Yeah, well that's fine, Vernon. I think there's nothing really wrong with only playing Monster Hunter to have fun with a friend, you know. For a lot of people that's what Monster Hunter is, they can't really play it on their own. I'm pretty good about playing it on my own. But even then I do appreciate interacting with communities now. In a weird way, the Hunsterverse community is a community that I can appreciate, and I feel like I'm part of it and that I can hunt with those guys and enjoy myself. Real hunting with randoms at this point isn't really my thing. At least not in my own time. So, that's fine. I'm going to carve these horns because it'll be easier at the end of the hunt. Because there'll be too much to carve otherwise. No, 3 calves thanks to Carver High? That's nuts. 3 calves on the fucking horn. I think that was a question that I asked at one point. My question was, if the thing that you're carving is a double carve, will Carver High, when it procs, give you 3 calves? The answer is yes, clearly, which is pretty cool. This couldn't be your first time seeing an underwater hunt, Beans. Could it really be your first time seeing one? Have we not demonstrated one up until this point for you? My god. Well, this is an underwater hunt. And the ideal is to choose weapon types that change as little as possible underwater. The lance is almost the same underwater as it is on land, so that's why I go with the lance. Well, I'm kind of shocked, Beans, that I didn't happen to... No, I think you would have been there, Beans, for short underwater confrontations with Ivory Laggy, but you might not have been watching or tuning in at that time. But I think we were hunting Ivory Laggy, not in the last recording, but... So in other words, I think it was... Oh no, maybe I only did one... Shit. When was that we were doing Ivory? We must have been doing Ivory last time. And I think we ended up chasing one of them underwater. Maybe not, I don't know. But enjoy. This is underwater hunting. And that's a dead Elder Dragon. This is the problem. I mean, they really messed up with Cedeus in the online because he's too damn easy. He has no health, really. He's so easy to shit on. They really messed up with Cedeus in this game. That's one of my major complaints. They should have had a strong Cedeus event quest or something, where you could get a real Elder Dragon hunt. We just shat on this guy, 3-man. Absolutely shat on him. He couldn't do anything, really. And that's a shame. That shouldn't happen. You know, there should be a Dire Morales level difficulty Cedeus hunt. Attacking at any angle isn't necessarily going to work incredibly favourably for you. It's not going to totally throw the balance of the hunt out the window and all of that. Attacking at any angle, in other words, is not going to override the difficulty of just moving slower in general underwater. So, it's all still generally hard underwater. Harder than hunting on land anyway. And most people don't like it. Let's do some underwater hunts. That's a great idea. Oh, I don't really want to do Abyssal though. We won't do Abyssal. Let's do some hunts where you actually have to go and find the monster underwater. In fact, let's look for Triple Laggy. Triple Lagiacrus or Lagiacrus. Let's see if either of us have it. It's not here, is it? No, it wouldn't be here. We could do Triple Plesioth. In fact, I was just hunting Plesioth underwater at the start of this recording, so... We could do Goebel. Yeah, that's right, Goebel starts underwater in G-Rank, doesn't he? We could do Goebel. You've got double green Plesioth. Let's try Goebel. Do either of us have triple Goebel? Or maybe triple Goebel doesn't start in the underwater. Well, he does, doesn't he? I don't have triple Goebel. We'll do single Goebel. And I'll try to use something that's not too strong. Oh, you were driving for the first 40 minutes of the recording, so you did actually miss an underwater hunt with Plesioth before. We'll do Goebel because he's unique to Try and 3 Ultimate. In other words, you cannot hunt him in any game where underwater combat doesn't exist. So I think that would be really good if we could do that. What would I like to use? Let's use Longsword. But in terms of the weapon itself... No, that's Awaken. Stop that. What's a weird longsword that I never used? Do I have one? Do I have such a weapon? Enfeebling Glaive is a bit... Oh, that can be upgraded. That's the purple Ludroth longsword, I think. Oh god, you guys want... Oh, you guys want Sword and Shield underwater? You people are fucking sadists. That you would inflict upon me the experience of underwater Sword and Shield. Well, okay. Almost tempted to use the Gimbal Gaia. Okay, let's use the Gimbal Gaia. I'll actually go with an appropriate element. This is the Chak. This is one of the Try weapons that you require trading with the Argosy Sea Captain to acquire. And require and acquire rhymes, incidentally. Just thought I'd let you know in case you hadn't caught that. But yes, this thing was not that good in Try. It's a little better in this game. A little better. But still not that great. It's an Awaken Thunder weapon. Ultra Lucky King. I hope my head isn't... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually briefly put a delay on my video to check my head. Oh, it is! Oh. It's totally glitching out. Yeah, it's glitching out. But I'm getting some more natural light, so let's drop it back. There we go. That should be fine. I just hate it when, you know, the chroma key's cutting into my head and it's creating a weird effect on my forehead and all of that business. Not a fan. Not a fan. Do they rhyme or do they kind of rhyme? I'd say they rhyme. In other words, it's not a partial rhyme, it's a legitimate full rhyme, is what I have to say to that, Takashi. Alright. Get a mega potion, and I think we should be good. I can't believe you're making me do Sword and Shield underwater, but okay. This is just to show that some weapons are really bad underwater. And so who gets to fucking demonstrate it? Yours truly. Well, I've talked about this before, but the theory is that Sword and Shield, by design, is very good because it is very high mobility. Now, when you take a weapon underwater, unfortunately, your mobility goes straight down the toilet. So, yeah. Check the combo. So this is Sword and Shield underwater, what you're watching right now. Does that not look unpleasant? It's because it is. It's actually fully unpleasant. It looks slower because it is, and it's just... Your sense of perspective is also messed with underwater. You're not quite sure if you're in range. It's good to have a long-range weapon type, as well as... Oh, Enten in G rank? He doesn't start here. He starts in the area where Bapoyo is. That's why I wanted the G rank Goebel. It's because he actually starts underwater. They decide that it's too easy for you to fish him out. So... They're like, oh, take this, hunters. Wait, oh, Bapoyo's hunting him on land. What the fuck? He actually starts in this area, but I guess he moves on land if you wait long enough. Whatever. I might be saved from hunting him underwater. Thank God. Gunlance is also good, Vern, which I recently found out. It actually comes across as a high mobility weapon type underwater. This Slagtoth with a big nose. I like Slagtoth because they have big noses. Check out that nose. He's got a fucking clown nose. A black clown nose. But yeah, he was having a bad time. This is Goebel. He is unique to 3rd generation. He appears in 2 games. First appeared in Trier, the first 3rd gen game. He's an anglerfish. A porcupine puffer slash anglerfish. So, yeah. That's what they like to do at Capcom. They like to have monsters that are sort of an amalgamation of 2 or 3 or more actual real life animals. And that's what they did for Goebel. And he's pretty cool. Honker nose, yeah, that too. He's a honker, alright. As you can see, my chroma key has officially shat the bed, so I'm going to officially try to fix it. Possibly at the expense of my health, but I don't care anymore. This has been one of those recordings where it just doesn't want to stay consistent outside. Now that might be a bit too fucking bright. Just as I do that, I get more natural light outside. I fucking hate this day. This is a terrible day. It must be a cloudy day or some crap. Anyway. I'm just generally not impressed, we'll put it that way. I'm a sad individual. I generally don't have to bother with this crap. It's usually only in summer when I have to deal with this crap, but today is one of those days. Okay, where is Mr. Goble? Goble is one of those monsters that is very easy to hunt on land, but underwater you're in his element, so it becomes very difficult very quickly. He can really mess you up, and I'm trying to... I haven't used Sword and Shield underwater in so long, I have to tell you. I almost don't even know what the combos look like, so I don't even know what I'm doing with the damn weapon. Yeah, bow is not fun underwater, not at all. See, even my... as I said, my sense of distance from the monster is messed up. Trying to use Sword and Shield here, with no real results. Awful. Just awful. Slowly swimming around to the front. Chroma key shitting the bed, literally shitting the bed, because I just lost almost all natural light outside, but it may come back in full force, so I mean, it's one of those days. It's one of those days. Sorry to put you through this. Yeah, I mean, well, look at me. I'm flailing my arm around like a fool. In-game. Now I'm bouncing off the damn back. I mean, this is terrible. In other words, underwater combat can either be kind of neutral or extremely unpleasant. This is the extremely unpleasant kind of underwater combat, where it's just something you want to finish as soon as possible. You want to be done with it as soon as possible. The sooner the better. Oh, I don't even know what I'm doing. If it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, it's because I don't. I haven't used Underwater Sword and Shield in so long that the sort of visual cues that would tell you, oh yeah, do this, do that. You know, on this animation I go from X combo to A combo, like that's not even there for me because it looks so weird and different to what I'm used to, so. Don't you love that drastic difference in lighting on my webcam? Isn't it just great? Let me tell you, if it starts to do that, there's nothing you can do. You are at the mercy of the sun. And I hate it. Bloody hate it. But yeah, this is where Goble goes when he is weak. He will burrow under the ground. Just here you can see sleep bubbles coming out of the I guess, you can't say ocean bed, I guess the river bed you would say, in this case. And, he's dead. That's a dead Goble right there. Thank God. That's going to be the last time in a long time I use Sword and Shield underwater. Fuck that. Just swim into him a bit more. And that is a Goble mouth. Look at that, and look at that. I mean, it's not every day you get to look at a Goble mouth like that. I'm being attacked by a Ludroth. But yeah, for example, those who have played Rise, who maybe are only familiar with Ludroth in Rise, would never know how a Ludroth fights underwater. But Ludroth is one of those hunts that often starts on land, and then as he rotates through the areas, he'll go underwater, and then you have to fight him underwater. Again, is quite a simple hunt on land, but can be a little tricky underwater, depending on the situation. Like for example, if you're lacking in defense, you might still be fine fighting him on land, but as soon as he gets underwater, God, he will really start to hurt you a lot, because he is just so nimble underwater, and you are so not nimble. You are completely almost at a loss as to how to deal with this fast-moving, charging sponge. Underwater Ludroth's not too bad at all, yeah. I think that was under rank 413, I think that's what that was, because it was 412 last time. I enjoy Royal Ludroth, yeah, he's cool. So I should be 413, yes. Just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure I'm not going insane. Oh, great. Bye-bye, light. Bye-bye. Fucking shit. Have to do that. Just have to constantly have my chroma key up at all fucking times. And then just not talk about it, so then you might not notice that I'm having to constantly make these changes. That would be the way to do it. That would be the way to do it. Someone screenshot that new emote. I don't know what I've done with my face, but a good emote is a good emote. Oh, I flipped it off. Yeah, right. When I first saw Royal Udroth, I thought he was some kind of banana monster. He's a bit like that. He does. His mane looks like a big bunch of bananas, doesn't it? It's true. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's funny. It does look like a big bunch of bananas. He looks like a banana tree. Hadn't thought about that. And gets unpeeled when dying? Ugh. Gross. Double underwater green plesioth. Well, green plesioth, and we can choose to hunt him underwater, and I think we will. Ideally with plesioth you do fish him out, but you can always jump in and attack him regardless. Now I'm going to show you a comfortable way to hunt underwater. How about that? Well, you've already seen it with that previous hunt, so I guess not like literally the previous hunt, but the one with Goldbeard Cedeus. I did use a lance, so you got to see how that was. So I'll actually use Gunlance, another weapon that I actually find to be quite good underwater. Lightning is the ideal element of choice for both Gobel and Plesioth, although I'm not sure how green Plesioth differs from regular Plesioth. I think green Plesioth might actually have even more of a thunder weakness to regular Plesioth or something, but I think both ultimately will have a primary weakness of thunder. Alright. Yeah, right, normal 3 won't be as important for critical distance. Which is a funny thought. Not many people shoot normal anything underwater, because it's a bad idea. But, obviously with normal 3 you don't have to worry as much about the impact damage. Or at least the initial impact damage, because you're aiming for the ricochet on normal 3. Which is quite good damage if you can get it off consistently. Pretty good damage. Especially with sharpshooter and normal up. It's possible that I thought that Royal Udroth was a big bunch of bananas as well when I first saw him. It's just that when I first saw him it was so long ago that I don't know what my first impressions were of that monster. Could very well have been the same, because it's a sensible conclusion to come to. I mean, he does look like a big bunch of bananas. He looks like a banana tree. A giant banana tree turned into a lizard, or something. Or maybe not a giant banana tree, or rather just a banana tree, because if you think about it, banana trees are pretty big, so I guess it would just be a living lizard banana tree. Yeah, that makes more sense. Right, let's go into part. Good idea. I just don't think we're getting a 4th anytime soon. People aren't too averse to the idea of joining rooms where a quest is in progress, so I just don't think there are many people playing at the moment. That's probably what's happening. Which is understandable. No map. You're not even going to give me a map. Ugh. Oh. You know what? Enten's probably... Well... Yeah, it probably is a faster way to go, isn't it? Probably is, because at the end of the day, I would only have 2 areas to go through. if I were to go this way. Whereas if I went the other way, it'd be more like 3, I think. Whatever. This is a shortcut to the underwater areas on the far east of the map. You can see I'm in Area 6. But I don't think you can go back the other way, or can you? Can you go back the other way? No, you can't. That's a shortcut, that's a one-way shortcut, in other words. I didn't think you could go back the other way, that'd be pretty crazy if you could. But yeah, Gunlance is good underwater for the reason that on land it's kind of low mobility, but underwater everything's low mobility, so as a result, things like the advance forward strike of the Gunlance actually gives you the impression of the Gunlance being a very high mobility weapon type underwater. So, and it also attacks very similar underwater to how it does on land, so it's just pretty comfortable. I like it. This weapon here is an event weapon. It's one of the Lightning Works weapons. There's a Gunlance, a Longsword, and possibly one other weapon type, but I can't think of what that is. It might just be those two. But it was originally just the Rising Soul in Tri, and then that extended into a Gunlance, possibly in Portable Third, but I think in this game. I don't remember it from Portable Third, so... It may very well have first appeared in Portable Third, and I just didn't use it in that game, but... Because there was no reason to, you know, that was the game that had Zenogre, and Zenogre weapons were really good in that game, so... Definitely if this Gunlance existed in Portable Third, there would be no reason to make it. Oh yeah, like they don't even give you maps. I was thinking the guild would at least give you a fucking map, but... Totally empty box. Totally empty. So you just have to make do with whatever you've got in your inventory. It's like on-site items only for the first... Well, excuse me, it's the opposite to that. It's not on-site items only, it's whatever you bring only. It's literally the polar opposite to on-site items only. But anyway, oh shit. There are 2 Plesioth here, and I don't know which is which. I think I'm gonna have to... Yeah, I'll be back in just one moment, guys. I'm going to have to Farcast her. One moment. you'll notice that I returned just as the quest finished. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were not to give the person the benefit of the doubt, the only reasonable assumption would be that I'm a leecher. Okay, so just assume that. No, I just had to take care of something. But, yeah. I'm a leecher. Unless I tell you different and at that point you choose to believe me. I would like to be believed, actually. By my audience. God, it's fucking dark. That is actually cutting into my shirt. I've had to make the chroma key strict. Well, I've had to make the chroma key so strict that it's cutting into my shirt. I look like TV static now. Just great. It's just how I like it, actually. How long have I been live for? 3 hours and 12 minutes? You know what, guys? I'm actually kind of in the mood to go for longer, but the lighting conditions have been really weighing on me, so I'm actually going to have that be my last hunt. So, I'm sorry to do that to you, even though I'm in the mood to go for longer, but I think that's going to conclude things. So, yeah, I will tomorrow be doing Castlevania Lament of Innocence. I look forward to doing that. Because it feels like it's been a little while since I last did something that wasn't Monster Hunter. Oh shit. I think I just replaced whatever that was. What was that? Hot drinks. But yeah. That is going to be my last hunch. And I will definitely see you guys tomorrow if you care to join. Damn you, lighting, indeed. Just blame it. Just blame it. The thing is, it doesn't matter if it's really dark or really light, it just needs to be consistent. All I ask for is consistency. If it's not consistent, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. And usually, I mean, it hasn't bothered me recently, it's been months since it last bothered me, but it's rearing its ugly head today, so. What can I do? Yeah, that's alright. Shutsy, there's no problem at all. I'll let you guys leave if you were continuing to hunt somewhere else. But oh, that's right, it's not my room. I can get the hell out of here. I'm out of here. It's not even my room. I don't have to worry about closing a room on anyone. I'm out of here. But yeah, I will. Yeah, I am disappearing, aren't I? Disappearing inside the chroma key. Ah, my hands. See, this is what you have to deal with, you know. But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow in Castlevania Lament of Innocence. I will have a beer with me, which it's a nice companion for a game like that, you know. Just sit back, relax, drink a beer, and play Lament of Innocence. That's going to be tomorrow, and I will hope to see you there. Hope you enjoyed this recording, and bye-bye for now.